Hello, everyone, and welcome to SIMP. SIMP stands for Some Irritating Male Podcast, and we're so happy that you're here. I'm here with my fellow co-hosts Jacob, Calvin, and Josh, and we're so happy to get this started. How this is going to work is we have a lot of things we're passionate about, a lot of things we want to talk about, and each week, hopefully weekly, don't hold us to it that though, is that we're going to post an episode talking about or doing something we're passionate about. And each week, one of us three will host an episode in a circle, in turns. So this week, I have the great honors of being able to host episode 1. And I chose something all three of us are very passionate about, something we all have a ton of experience in, and that's gaming. And I think we all have a lot of takes, a lot of things we want to talk about today.
Thanks, Paxton. Like he said, my name is Jacob. I'm really excited to be here. Ton of experience in gaming. I probably have the least amount in total time, but I've been gaming for the longest period of time. So experience in some ways, but probably least experienced.
Thanks for the introduction, Paxton. Yeah, I love gaming. That's the whole industry I'm working in right now, and I started when I was 4 years old, so it's been a lifelong hobby. So I'm very excited to talk about these things, and interested to see if there are any, given our age differences, how we have maybe different experiences with games of different eras. So looking forward to talking about that.
No, absolutely. That's a really good take. But like I said, there's going to be so much going on this podcast, so many different things. I mean, we have a ton of different episodes we're going to cook up. We're going to be all over the place. So don't expect another gaming episode probably for another 15 episodes. We're going to be all over the place and hopefully doing a lot of things we're passionate about too, not just talking about them. So expect a lot of big things. But we're really happy you're here. We hope you enjoy it. Today on the agenda, we're going to be going over our top 10 individual favorite games of all time. And then we're going to talk about some of the most disappointing games we've had over the years. And then our game of the year for 2023, which is pretty exciting. And finally, we're going to conclude with some games we're really looking forward to coming out in the future.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. But first, I feel like we should talk about what kind of gamers are we? Where do we start with gaming? And a little bit of our background. I'll go first. I was a pretty casual gamer up until probably the age of 12, I would say, give or take. Probably only like playing on the weekends, kind of because that's what my parents' rule was and all that kind of stuff. But starting at the age of like 14 is kind of when they started giving me more liberty to play throughout the week, and I was taking advantage of that. I always loved it though. When I was able to play over those weekends, man, it was unforgettable. Sometimes I'd have in these games. Some of my childhood games are like Little Big Planet. I was a big Sony gamer. That's my bread and butter right there. PlayStation, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, by the ages of like 14, 15, I started really getting into it, playing it daily, loving it. And then I played pretty much everything, any genre. I love MMOs, first-person shooters, a lot of online games, I would say. I'm probably the biggest online gamer there is here in this group. I like a lot of those. Big AAA story games, like God of War, Uncharted, Spider-Man, games like that. Love those, played those to death. But by the age of 16, I fell in love with a game that I would not put down for probably around 7 years, and that is Overwatch. I absolutely played the heck out of that game for, about 7 years, and I have well over 4,000 hours. I played competitively for about 2.5 years, and I'm going to be talking a lot about that game.
So you're just giving out spoilers to some of your top 10 already now, Pax, huh?
I didn't say it was going to be on there, because I have a lot of hate for that
sure
game.
It's on there.
I didn't say it was going to be on there, but maybe. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't play Overwatch competitively anymore these days. I kind of play whatever I can get my hands on and when I have time. So that's a lot of story games, stuff like that.
What's your gamer tag?
What is my gamer tag? Let's see. For my PlayStation and for most of my gaming career, it was Kill Rob. But that was just because it was my dad's username, and I inherited his account as his son, and so I was Kill Rob. But when I was able to get my own gamer tag, I went with Link PCP. That's I don't know why I ever chose Link. Which is kind of funny because everyone's like, "Oh, Legend of Zelda." I didn't even play Legend of Zelda. I just chose Link out of and I was like, my initials on PCP, so let's add that. So yeah, I don't really know where that came from, but Link PCP would be my a normal gamer tag these days. Jacob, take it away.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to be aging myself a little bit when I give you my background in games. I started playing video games the age of 8, and my first console was a Sega Genesis. I don't even know if Paxton has heard of that.
I've heard the name. I have no idea what it looks like. I'll be honest. I have no
Me neither,
idea.
yeah.
What it looks
It's a small black box,
like. Okay.
and then you fit a cartridge right in the center of it. Then
What
you
was
have
your
these
first
black.
game on there? What was your first game on there? Do you remember?
My first game was probably Sonic and Tails. So it was like a Sonic adventure. Yeah.
Solid.
Which is funny because I love that game, but I'm not a big Sonic fan. Like I haven't played it
Didn't stick with you.
probably since then. Yeah, it didn't stick with me, but yeah, it is nostalgic. I did really enjoy it. Some of the other games were where there was a Home Alone game I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
On the Sega Genesis?
Interesting.
What was that?
Yep.
What did you do? Do you just like play for the
You went from house to house and you'd set up traps and you'd have a certain amount of time to set up booby traps.
Really?
And then after
Wow.
that time went out, the two robbers, I forget the guys' names, but then they would come by, and if you set up enough traps in the right area, you would scare them off before they robbed the house. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool.
And you could be running around setting up traps while they were trying to break in. So either they steal the stuff or they get you, I believe.
Wow.
So
intense.
you're
That's
running from them. They would try to grab you, but you'd have, like ice trap that would slip them up and you'd have more time to run away and stuff like that.
Sounds like a horror game.
Yeah. And then after that, it was the Game Boy Color. And I loved the Game Boy Color. And the biggest game on there, the first thing I got was this, I think it was a Sam's Club or Costco package my parents got me for my birthday, and it was this big case, and it had Pokemon Blue version in it, a Pokemon guidebook, and the Game Boy. And I had a green little Game Boy Color, and I love that. So that's where gaming started. Since then, I played PlayStation at my house, but I always had an older generation. We never had the newest and biggest games or the newest console. Then after that, Xbox, played a lot of Halo in the early days with friends, but I didn't own an Xbox myself. So I'd go to a friend's house and we'd play a ton of Halo. Yeah, so that's a really big one for me. Since then, my interest in video games has broadened. Mostly I play on the PC right now. I do love indie games, and I do love games that are heavy in story and narrative.
Nice.
You also took a pretty large break from PC, from when you started on Halo on Xbox and to the PC days. There's a pretty large gap in there where you didn't play very much. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, so that would have been like college and afterwards. Yeah.
Do you still have any of your older consoles, like your Sega Genesis?
Don't have the Sega, but we have, I think, the original PlayStation.
Oh,
wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead then.
Yeah.
I started at the ripe age of 4 years old. They started me young, so I don't know if you guys have heard of the website known as Miniclip.
Yes, that's my childhood.
Okay.
Wait, you played on Miniclip too?
Absolutely, Jacob.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's just a
That's a
website.
throwback.
No,
That's a throwback, dude.
it's the biggest throwback. Yeah, that's
Wow.
so. I think I'm just reaching on the furthest recesses of my mind. I think my first game was something on Miniclips. I think I remember playing Harry's Eyebrows, which is like a pinball game, one of those simplest games. But yeah, I played on Miniclips a bunch when I was like 4 and 5. I actually played. My dad used to play Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, and I used to like sub in when he was like when he saw that I wanted to play. So it's an FPS shooter. It's one of the most important FPS shooters, online FPS shooters. I would say that's in the entire gaming industry. It's like equated.
What do you mean by important?
Well, important as like setting an example for what online FPS shooters should be. Like Doom was. I think it's like Doom and then Wolfenstein. Those two brands in the early 90s, or early 2000s, late 90s. Those were the foundational games for online FPS. So that was very fun. I played it a lot. I played it when I was in the teens as well. But yeah, so I got my first Game Boy Advance when I was around 4 or 5. And the first game that I was able to play on my own console, my own personal console, that was Rayman.
Oh,
Anyone
interesting.
recognize that?
Rayman Legends. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rayman Legends. I
Nice,
know that.
nice. Yes. And then I got a Nintendo DS when I was like 5 or 6. Bunch of
Wow,
yes.
that is so young. That's crazy.
They started me off young. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but just a bunch of Mario games, lots of platforming. And I think that's maybe something that's common among most people because platforming is
Yeah.
like not it trains your motor skills or it makes you think about gravity and there's puzzle solving, so it's good for kids and learning and such, and it's really easy to not have a high rating for platform
Yeah.
games. So that's interesting. But yeah, so and then let's see. I got my first laptop when I was 12 and got into MMORPGs at that point. Um, and basically became a PC gamer at like 12. Um, and yeah, I'll go into the specific games later, but that's I kind of had an Xbox for a little bit when I was 15. I got a PlayStation when I was 13, but I was mostly PC. Um, Mostly PC for the rest of that time. So that's my story.
That's super cool. I think that's a lot of good setup for what we're
Hmm.
about to talk about. I'm going to go over something really quick. If you do like this content, please consider subscribing, like all that stuff that all podcasts have to go over. I'm just going over really briefly. If you do like it, share it to a friend, all that good stuff. And now, jumping into the heart, the meat of this sandwich podcast, we have the top 10 favorite video games of all time. And I'm going to start off personally with quite a few honorable mentions. I've played quite a few video games. This list was not easy to make.
Hold on,
And
Pax.
Go ahead.
Do you want to do this where we each give all of our 10, or it might be better if you list number 10 and then we list our number 10 and we can work it
Yes,
down?
absolutely. That was the
Yeah.
plan. When we get to our top 10s, right now we're just going to go through our honorable mentions. I think we all go to them, we all run through our honorable mentions and then take turns running through all of our honorable mentions, and then we'll get to the top 10.
Sounds
Because
good.
these are the games that didn't quite make the cut, but I definitely want to talk about very briefly because they have a very special place in my heart. So, getting into it, my first honorable mention game goes to Rocket League. This is one of the most fun online games I've played. I've sunk well over probably like 500 hours into this. It's such an easy game to pick up. It's a ton of casual fun. I loved it. I played it to death. But it didn't quite make it to the top 10 list for me. Next up, we have Ghost of Tsushima, which this is probably one of those games.
Your focus is all off, man.
Yeah, I'm fixing it. Don't worry. This is one of those games that I was the most sad to not see the top 10, but I couldn't couldn't put it on there. But it is a visually stunning game, combat that you're just gonna fall in love with, a world that you're gonna fall in love with, a story that's really well done. But didn't quite make the cut for various reasons. That it's kind of a tediously long game, and I remember that kind of bugging me throughout the game. But besides that, there's a lot to love about this game. Next up, we got Red Dead Redemption, and I'm going to particularly say Red Dead 2 because I didn't actually play Red Dead 1. I'm not that old. But Red Dead 2, great game, great story, great world. But it didn't quite resonate with me as much as it does other people. So I know that's going to make it to a lot of people's top 10. For me personally, some of the combat, some of the story missions didn't quite hit for me. Next up, this is one that I thought for sure was going to make my top 10, but when I was really thinking about it, it didn't quite make it. I think it was short by like 2 slots. Far Cry 5. By far, my favorite Ubisoft game of all time. By far, my favorite Far Cry game. I love this game. I think this is one of the most interesting villains in a video game ever, that it'll make you want to play the game just to figure out more and hear more from the villain. It's just outstanding performance from the villains. Amazing. Go play it. It's great. It has a great world. I mean, not much to say about it, but unfortunately, again, didn't make my top 10. Right. Next up, we got the Arkham games, which is going to be those Batman games, and particularly Arkham Knight. That's one of my favorites. I think Mark Hamill's Joker alone is enough to go play this game because, wow, that is a killer performance. And it's incredible, the chemistry between Batman and Joker throughout those games, and especially Arkham Knight. Amazing combat, amazing Gotham. You're gonna get lost in that Gotham. It is so cool. Really good game. Next is my only Nintendo. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but my only Nintendo game I'm gonna personally talk about as far as games I love. Just because Nintendo wasn't a really big part of my childhood or my gaming career, quote unquote. And that's gonna be Super Mario Odyssey. I love Odyssey. I think it's my favorite Mario game, and I know a lot of people like Galaxy. I know a lot of people like the original 64, all that stuff. I'm sure they're great games. I just didn't play them, so don't hate on me that I didn't mention them. I played Odyssey. I loved it. I wanted to give it some love because I really did enjoy that game. All the levels are so unique. They're so different, and yeah, really good game. Next up, and this I think this is going to surprise some people that didn't make it on my top 10 list, and that's Call of Duty. I want to mention Call of Duty.
Just the franchise or any one specifically?
Franchise in total.
Yeah.
And that's why it didn't make my top 10 is because I'm talking as a whole, and it has in recent years really gone downhill, and that's kind of what keeps it away from it. But man, do I have so many good memories of Call of Duty. Call of Duty Zombies, just grinded there on day one, man. Trash talking in those lobbies, dude. It's so much fun. So many amazing memories, and I've probably sunk more hours into Call of Duty than most of the games I'm going to talk about in my top 10. But because of recent years and their failings to deliver, it's just.
How are they failing to deliver?
This will.
Well, their recent games have been. I mean, if you play Call of Duty, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All the games are pretty much exactly the same. They're not innovating very much. They're very the same. If you played the recent Modern Warfare 3 campaign, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is the most stale, boring, uninspired story you'll ever play, and yeah, it's just left a really sour taste in my mouth, and one that I just can't put on my top 10 list.
It brings up an interesting point that we should get into later, or maybe we'll get into it. Is why we like certain games, and you mentioned one thing, memories, right? So there is a thing in multiplayer games where you have memories you're sharing with other people that can add value to games, and that's always an interesting thing to me. Is do you weigh that value heavily or not when considering whether or not a game is really good?
Oh, memories and nostalgia are huge. I mean, those are huge driving
But
factors.
specifically, like experiences you have with other people playing, because playing with other people, I think, can often elevate it. Because there's something shared, not just with you, but with others and with friends, and like you can, be two old men sitting on a porch talking about that Call of Duty game.
That one time. No, I absolutely.
That one night, that one all nighter.
Yeah, that one all nighter. Absolutely, we've all had those with Call of Duty. Well, that's a really good point. Really good point. I have one more honorable mention game, and this one, I think, yeah, it's an interesting one to bring up for favorite of all times, but it's one that I really didn't have that much complaints with, but a lot of people, it wasn't it for them, but I'm going to mention it because this is my tier list, so whatever. Cyberpunk 2077. I love this game to death. I know it had so many glitches, but I played it on a really nice brand new PC that I got, and I didn't actually have any glitches throughout the whole experience, which is like unheard of. So the game, I know the side quests were like, yeah, whatever, they're kind of boring, but the main quest, if you stuck to it and got to know the characters, there was a lot to love about this game. And I love the world, and it was just, I mean, obviously Keanu Reeves is in there, and you're not going to have to listen to this podcast long to know how much of a fanboy I am of Keanu Reeves. So this game, I love it. Soundtrack's amazing. The show's amazing. The new expansion's amazing with Idris Elba. It's just, there's a lot to love about this game. And yeah, I really wanted to mention it because it's really fun game.
So Jake, what do you value for your honorable mentions?
Let me give. Are you done with your honorable mentions, Pax?
Those were all of mine, yes, sir.
Okay, I have a lot. So some of them I'm going to run over. Some of the more common ones I'm going to run over, and you'll know. Okay, yeah, that's a game people like. And then I'll talk a little bit, Josh, about why I value them, and I might talk about it as I mention them.
All right.
Okay, so I'll just run through some that everybody will know that I have on here. Skyrim is one of my honorable mentions. Mario Kart is another one. Had some good memories with that. Diablo 4, a more recent one, honorable mention.
Interesting.
Yeah. Did you not like it?
I'm gonna talk about this for 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that that's an honorable mention for greatest of all time.
Yeah, I think so.
You,
Well, I think
what?
there's a lot that goes in there as far as I've got a lot of honorable mentions. I think there's a lot that goes in there as far as it being recency biased. So we just finished it. We just like last week, 2 weeks ago,
Yeah, it was about last week. Yeah.
finished it. And the visuals were really good.
Mm.
Probably the gameplay, the visuals, the audio. I really like the story, even though some people don't.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to talk about this one. I'm running through these ones. We can if you
Yeah.
really find it controversial. I didn't.
I kind
I
of
don't
do,
have
but-
I don't have a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah.
I think you're putting more weight into it than I am on my mentions.
Mm. Well, it's just
Um,
like honorable mentions are like games that I wish I could have put on the greatest of all time. So here, a game like Diablo 4, which I don't know.
No,
like,
they're more games I want to give a nod to. I want to mention and I want to bring
okay.
up and I want to draw attention. So maybe we looked at that a little bit
Yeah,
differently.
possibly. Carry on.
Okay, I'll mark some of them off on along those lines. So Hogwarts Legacy, I loved it. I'm also, as you can see in the back, I have a Slytherin scarf back there.
Nice.
So I did not read all the Harry Potter books. I'm gonna come out and say it. But I do really love Harry Potter, and I love the fact that you're able to fly around on a broom. I felt
Yeah.
like they nailed that. That was a ton of fun. They made it open world. That was fun. So it was just all around just everything I wanted when I heard they were making a Harry Potter game. Lots of things they could have done better. But it was everything that it was like the minimum of what I wanted. So I was super happy with it. Another one, Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne. So I never got into World of Warcraft. I played it a little bit. I probably would have it up here if I had played it. Everything about it I love. But Warcraft 3 was something I played with my cousins way back in the day. A lot of nostalgic memories there. Loved the game. Here are going to be some that I don't know if either of you are going to know. Bomberman.
Oh,
I know Bomberman. I know the name. Come
Okay,
on.
there
what
you
is
go.
that?
Bomberman. It was like a Japanese game where you would set bombs and try to blow each other up. So you're just little guys
Yeah.
and you'd run around a map and you would just lay down a bomb and try to trap people and blow them up. So it was you were competing against your friends.
It was a
most of the
top-down
time.
view.
Yeah,
Top-down view, kind
top-down
of like
view.
Overcooked to that kind of thing. So
This is on like a Game Boy, or it's not a PC game, right?
This, I believe, was PlayStation,
Oh, okay.
if I remember
You're
right.
It's PlayStation.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. An old game, really old game.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll find some pictures. A game I am currently playing, but I haven't finished it, so I can't put it on the top 10, is Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake
Yeah,
2, I
solid.
do want to take a moment to talk about this because at some points, I just am stuck playing it and I absolutely love it and it blows me away. And then there are parts where it drags on. So I really don't know where it's going to finish, but it has one chapter in particular that I think is one of the best like levels, chapters, what have you that I've ever played in a video game, and just blew me away and hooked me, and I absolutely loved it. And if you've played it, you probably know what I'm talking about. If not,
I will say,
just play it
briefly. This will not be a spoiler-free episode, but if there is ever a spoiler we want to talk about, we're going to give you a nice heads up, and hopefully later we'll have markings of where the spoilers start, where it ends. Just keep that in mind when we're talking about the games. Sorry about that. Continue.
Okay, just a couple more. Another one is Halo. That was part of my childhood as
Whoa.
well. Yeah, it's not on the top 10.
Really? That
Not
shocks
on
me.
the top 10.
Wow. Okay.
Like I said, I think the biggest reason why it's not on my top 10 is I didn't own the game. So I only played it when I went over to friend's house. So loved it, had a lot of great experiences, but it just wasn't a game that I had readily available to me. Another really old one that was one of my favorites is a game called The Adventures of Batman and Robin. This was an early platforming Batman game for the Sega Genesis. And just a fun platforming game all around, in my opinion. I don't even remember the story, but I just remember loving it. There's one more on here that I probably should mention, and I debated even putting it on this list because I've gone back and forth on it. Honorable mention, last one, Baldur's Gate 3. So I recently finished it, and it's really long. There's a ton of content. It's incredible what they do. But I just like these other games more, which is very surprising because I love Dungeons and Dragons.
Did you say that you struggle to even put it as an honorable mention, or are you struggling not to put it on your top 10?
I'm struggling not to put it on my top 10.
Okay,
I would say.
I was about to say I can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very good game. Very good
Yeah,
game.
it's an impressive game.
Hmm.
And that's it for me. So there are a number of these that why I consider them and why I like them, what stand out to me is memories. And
Mhm.
hey, a lot of these older ones I played when I was a kid, and I played a lot.
Yeah.
And played with friends growing up. So that's one of the things. Some of the newer ones, like Alan Wake and Baldur's Gate, there's a lot of story elements that factor into that. Like I felt like they did an amazing job with the storyline and the voice acting and the visuals. All of that was incredible.
Mhm. I will say for my honorable mentions, real quick, it's very hard to talk about like why they didn't make my top 10 until I start talking about my top 10s and the things
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
liked about my top 10s. So as I was going through them, I realized, well, I really did want to put this on my list, but I can't really say why until I start talking about how much I do love the games in my top 10 and why these other games that I wanted to mention didn't make it. So they'll make more sense. Maybe I'll go back to some of them and explain why this game did it better than this other game. But
I'm
anyways,
gonna
Josh,
I'm gonna end it with two more
yeah,
and make zero comments about them.
knock them out.
Zoo Tycoon and Perfect Dark.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Perfect
Yeah,
what?
Perfect Dark.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Perfect Dark was a Nintendo 64 game.
Okay.
Yeah,
that one makes sense.
first person shooter. Loved it.
Zoo Tycoon, come on, man. All right.
Zoo Tycoon, man. That's like you're an 8-year-old kid and you're like locking
Mm.
people in cages with animals. It's a blast.
Absolutely.
Sounds fun.
All right, Josh,
Yeah.
take it away.
My honorable mentions. Let's see. So I mentioned it before. The entire Rayman franchise is one that I have to mention. The art is like is beautiful, especially the first Rayman game. I just think I've never seen so many cute animations. These dancing flowers, the palette. It's just very easy on the eyes, very magical for a kid.
Mm.
And it was very challenging, so it'd definitely take a lot of time to like you would really invest a lot of time in those platformers. So I'll say Rayman, and I also mentioned Wolfenstein: Enemy Territory is just one of those foundational FPSs. So that's also my honorable mentions. We have Super Mario 64, which was mentioned previously. It's a 3D platformer that I played through and has these great puzzles, very good music, amazing music. It's still relevant today, actually, and it's very ahead of its time. When you think about it, a 3D
absolutely.
platformer. I've heard actually stories where people working on that game would commit suicide because they were so stressed because
Just got really dark. We just took a turn, ladies and gentlemen.
it is what it is. It's just the death. Like they were so overworked in making that just pure crystal of a game.
I will add on to that a little bit. Yes, the movement in that game was decades above its time. The fluidity of how everything feels so good. The way you jump, slide, and bounce.
Wait, who's
off
the
surfaces.
developer?
Nintendo.
It's Nintendo. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was literally decades. It's unbelievable what they pulled off in the movement on how Mario interacts with the world. It is incredible.
Oh, you said Mario. For some reason, I thought you were talking about Rayman still.
No. We're talking about Mario 64. That game is incredible. Yeah. It holds up today. If you go and play it, the game's still going to feel great. Yeah. And that's amazing. It has an amazing speedrunning community and stuff like that.
It does. It does. You know about it, yeah.
I do, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't remember when the release date was. Maybe I can look it up later. But it's, I think, late 90s or early 2000s. But 3D platformer back then, that's ridiculous. So that was really cool. Plants vs. Zombies.
Hey,
I have to mention it. It's it was one of my childhood games. It was so unique. There was nothing like it at the time that I can think of, and it was a great strategy game. There were so many good mini games, and got to mention that one. There's let's see. I'll mention two more. There's a recent game. It's called Omori, and it's a psychological horror game. It's got some good music, good plot. It's inspired by well, it's in the same realm or the same genre as like Undertale or Mother, otherwise known as Earthbound. That sort of thing. It's got a little character and just very simple art. Um, and I should also mention this other one, Fate Undiscovered Realms, is a dungeon crawler. It was the first dungeon crawling experience I was um, introduced to, and it was kind of an RPG also, which is it was the first. I'm not sure if it was the first RPG I was introduced to, but the idea of an RPG like and leveling up that's how I got introduced to that idea. Very fun dungeon crawler, very good RNG, and I've played it recently too, so I'll say that. That's all.
Nice. Wow. Okay.
And just to wrap it out, like wrap it all up, I guess you might see a common pattern. Most of these have some nostalgic value to them, and let's see. I would say maybe plot is next on the list, but there's gameplay too. I think gameplay was pretty significant in my choice of these. There's this creativity, ingenuity on these games that I valued when I played them as a child specifically. So I didn't really. Most of these weren't really multiplayer, so that whole sharing experiences with others wasn't that valuable to me as a child, I would say.
Josh was never taught to share when he was a kid.
Yeah,
it was,
he was very secluded,
feast
very
or famine,
secluded.
kill or be killed.
Absolutely. Oh, man.
Survival of the fittest,
It is how it is. Yeah, that's just a little bit of what wraps these all together.
Hold on, I gotta fix.
I mean, actually, when I think about it, Josh, if I look at my top 10, which we'll get into, none of those are really games that you play with other people and have memories with them, except for one of them.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, all right.
Couple.
All right. Yeah, I think I am probably going to be the guy talking about online games the most, because that's kind of what I play.
Yeah.
But let us get into the top 10. How this is going to work is I'm going to start with my number 10, and then Jake goes to his number 10, and Josh goes to his number 10. I go to my number 9. You get the idea. We're going to slowly work down to our best of all time. And so, starting up at number 10, for me, my top 10 favorite game of all time. Keep in mind, I put a lot of thought and a lot of preparation to this. This is a list.
Flowcharts, spreadsheets. He did all the work.
I had sticky notes all around my room. I wasn't sleeping this entire week. It's just
All a beautiful mind. Just
At work. And for my number 10. But one more thing, I'm just really happy with this list. I'm content with where all these games are, and so very excited to talk about this. For my number 10, I have The Outer Worlds. I think Jacob's played this game. I don't think Josh has.
I've not.
But so me and Jake can talk about it. But this
amazing game.
This is the game that made it onto my list where like a Bethesda game didn't make it on my list. I think this game is better than Skyrim. I think this game is better than Fallout. Sue me. I love this game. This game has unforgettable characters, man. Like once you really get to know them and do their backstories, you're gonna remember them. It's got such a unique space world vibe. It's also like a dark comedy, which I really love, and it's got a lot of jokes that just really land. It's got the vibe's really great. I'm
gonna jump in on this one too because it is in my top 10. I'm gonna spoil it for you right there.
Absolutely.
It is not number 10. So we'll get to it, but I'm going to talk about it now. So then when we get to it later, we've already covered it.
That sounds like a great idea.
I agree. It is amazing. And I think the gameplay, because like the focus of this game is the story, is the narrative, is the characters, are the worlds, and even the decisions you make. You can go side with one faction or another.
Oh yeah.
So you can take different turns, and ultimately the outcome in the end is similar, but then the storylines for characters change based on the decisions you make.
But all your decisions feel very meaningful in it, like
Yeah.
decisions that change how other characters' futures end and stuff like that. Very meaningful decisions that feel great. All the weapons feel amazing. You get so much customization on how you want your character to be. Like you can be an all melee brawler, you can be a sniper. Like there's so much different variations in how you can approach combat that feel
You
meaningful.
say there's a ton of customization, which is true, but it's also fairly simplistic. It doesn't get too complicated. It doesn't get really. It's very straightforward.
I meant that the way you attack certain combat situations, it's not like you just run
it's
and gun.
versatile.
You can choose different paths to approach things, which feel meaningful, which is always very refreshing. But like I said, one of the things I loved about it was this like dark comedy things where people were making very dark jokes through it, and I think it really landed well. But yeah,
I just love the type of game it is, where it's like, okay, you're flying around in a spaceship and you slowly start gathering a crew, and each crew member has their own background and storyline that feels real, and it feels like a lot of attention and care was put into the individuals who are a part of your crew. And that's really cool. Like you feel like the captain of a ship and the captain of a crew.
And this is one of my favorite things about it. It's such a weird thing to compliment, and here's why I think it's better than most Bethesda games, and sue me. I only compare them to Bethesda because they're very similar games. Obviously, there's The Outer Worlds was inspired by other Bethesda games. I think what The Outer Worlds does great is it doesn't abuse its runtime. It knows how long of a game it should be, and it doesn't go over that limit. Bethesda games go for 80 hours plus. This game was like a 35-hour game, and it felt perfect. It didn't feel rushed, and it didn't feel like you were ever doing something longer than you had to. It never got tedious. It never got boring. It never got repetitive.
Yeah.
It ended when it needed to on a high, where you still were loving the gameplay and loving the world.
It has amazing pacing. The pacing is really, really well done. Yeah. So if anything, there might be some people that would say, "I wish it was longer," but
which is a compliment. Like that's just a compliment to how good it is.
Yeah. But there was nobody that said it was too long or it dragged on, or if they did, like I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's all I have to say about The Outer Worlds. That's my number 10. You can reveal where it came in your list, Jake, I guess, unless you want to reveal it later.
I'll reveal it later. It later.
So yeah, that's my number 10.
Great game. I love it. Favorite character? Who's your favorite character?
Pavardi. Absolutely Pavardi. It's the first character you meet, this girl engineer wannabe. And
what'd you say, Josh?
Just the name of a cheese? That's kind of fun. Are all these people named after like objects?
No, but she's amazing. She's such a wholesome character, and you can actually like see her character grow throughout the game, and as she's like learning new things and experiencing new things, and you can see that in her character. That's such a cool thing. Mostly because she's the first character you meet, so she has the longest journey with you, so you get to see the most progression, most character development, and that's really cool.
And also, Jake, what was your? Well, I'm real quick on your number 10 packs. Like, what's the overall? Is it like is there a plot, or is it like, oh, you're following along these friends on an adventure? Like, is there a goal in mind? Like,
yeah, it's been a while since I've played it. But what I remember distinctly is it's kind of a you versus corporate game, or you can choose a path where you like help the overall corporate. Like, it's just a corporation that runs the universe basically, and all like the weapons and how they distribute weapons, all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of as far as I can remember, it's kind of
there's a lot of political upheaval. There's arguments over resources. You are somebody who was in cryo sleep for like 80 years or something like that. And there's this one professor. He's the one sending you out on missions. He takes you out of cryo sleep, but when he does that, he's also like on the run. So he's wanted by the authorities. He's seen as a criminal. But he's convincing you that, hey, this corporate world, they don't want all these people, you included, waking up from cryo sleep. So you were part of this settlement, or you were part of this group of settlers who were supposed to be like the brightest, the best and the brightest. But the government doesn't want to wake them up because they're low on resources, I think was one of the things. So they're like, we shouldn't wake all these other people up if we're already struggling with population issues and not having the resources for them. But he's like, no, but these are our brightest minds. The corporate world is ruling, or the corporate collection of planets is making terrible decisions, exerting their power over advancement. And He's like, we have these people that can help solve some of these issues. Let's revive them. So
Yeah, one of the cool things though is about that whole thing, and what I kind of mentioned earlier is you can decide which side you're going to take. And it's kind of not really spoilers, but you can decide whether to even help that old man who like took you out of cryo sleep, or completely just bail on him and turn him into corporate. Like there's such big decisions in the game that it's very cool. Apologies for the camera once again. I think the lighting's throwing it off.
My favorite character might be Ellie. She's
the blonde girl, right?
She's the doctor.
Yeah,
or the medical. Yeah.
I remember finding her pretty.
No, I liked her storyline, and I remember going to her world and like trying to help her out. Obviously,
with her parents.
With her parents, bad relationship, and I didn't even mean to. I don't know how it happened, but for some reason, everybody became hostile towards me. So I ended up killing everybody there, and then leaving. All I remember is killing everybody on the planet and then leaving.
Oh my!
And I'm like, we're out of here.
Wow.
So I created genocide.
You had a very different playthrough than me.
I had a different playthrough.
Took the dark path.
I didn't mean to. I just got so frustrated that everybody was like turning against me when I didn't think they had any reason to, so I killed them.
Fair enough.
That was my playthrough.
But yeah, that game's so good. If you haven't played it, it's so worth your time. It's gonna draw you in. There's so many just lovable moments, lovable characters. I mean, just everything clicks. There's nothing really to complain about this game. I mean, you can even like mod your guns. So if the guns get too boring, you can change like the way it shoots and the way like the attachments, everything. Like everything just gets fresh and new. The more you play, you get introduced to different combat systems and stuff. It's very good.
But we should move on. We should pick up the pace a little bit.
Okay. One more thing. I will say it's not an out of this world game where it's going to have a concept you've never seen.
I see what you did there.
Paxton.
Wow.
I don't think you even realized it.
I actually didn't. I'm going to be honest. Full disclosure, I did not get that.
Where did you get that idea?
Dad joke.
But real quick.
Yeah.
The game, it doesn't have anything you're never going to see in a video game before. It just masters everything it should master. And I really love it for that. It's like it's the best version of that type of game. Yes, the best version of that type of game I've seen. Jacob, your number 10, please.
My number 10 is something that we probably won't talk about much because neither one of you, I'm guessing, have played this or even care much about it. MVP Baseball 2005. For anybody who enjoys sports and who enjoys baseball games, this is... Look at him laughing. What's up?
That's such a funny game to make it to top 10, man. But go on.
Oh, it's amazing. This game is amazing. I almost put it higher than this. Yeah, MVP Baseball 2005, in my mind, is the greatest baseball game that was ever made. And nothing after that has even come close. It was really good at having just about any type of gameplay you wanted to go about. So whether or not you wanted to be like an executive managing the team, not playing the games, you could do that. You could play the games. They had all the old players you could unlock. So like the old Cooperstown Hall of Famers. So you'd be playing with players like Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and Hornus Wagner, Ty Cobb, Cy Young. So you'd be playing with like the greatest players, and they even opened up, I think they even had like some old Cooperstown teams that you could unlock and play with. So that was great. The gameplay itself was really good. Just the mechanics of pitching and hitting worked fantastic. There were no problems with it. And also the ability to create your own player was fantastically done as well. So I feel like
was that pretty revolutionary for the time to create your own player?
No, so there were others that did that, but I think it just perfected it. So even just, I mean, obviously you can make like a goofy shaped player. You can make somebody who's 7 foot tall. It's an older game, obviously 2005. That's way back. I felt like the graphics were really good for that time as well.
Was it a 3D or a 2D game?
It was 3D.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
3D. It has a picture of Manny Ramirez on the front.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I think one of the things I really like that I've never found in baseball games really after that is that it would also save the progress of your players. So if you played like a long franchise, it would have like the full statistics of that player. Now I know some new games do that, but I'll talk I'm going to talk later, actually, about some of the new sports games and why they don't hold up. But it did a really good job of just keeping track and compiling all the stats. And I don't know about other people, but as a baseball fan, I think there are a lot of us that just love statistics. So even as a kid, I would grab like old Sunday newspapers at my grandma's house, and I would look up like the statistics of all the players, who has the most home
You're
runs,
really
average.
dating yourself now.
Oh yeah, I know,
Mhm.
I know, I know.
That's awesome.
I look it up online too. They had internet when I was a kid,
Oh,
but
they
we had
did.
we had
Wow.
dial up. We had dial up. I don't know
Oh,
if you guys remember that or not, or if
not
that
at
was
all.
before you.
Not
All
For
at
right,
me.
all.
yeah, dating myself. Um,
Very cool.
that's all I want to say about it. I mean, if you like sports, I believe it would even still hold up today as a baseball game. A lot of sports games today, I will briefly say what I don't like that they do is they do like you open a pack of cards and you get a player with a certain grade, and then you
So
can
much to say
pay
about
money, right? So pay to win type stuff. That is, yeah, it's
that.
not good.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
We'll get to that disappointing
Josh,
game.
number 10.
Yeah, my number 10, I kind of mentioned it before. It's got to be Undertale. Have you guys played that one?
Oh,
It.
I have.
I'm ashamed to say I haven't. It is
Ah.
on my list. I feel like I would love it.
I think you would, yeah. Well, I'll try not to spoil too much then, but just to explain why I like it, well, I value music a lot. So that game has incredible music. It's still I still listen to it even to this day. I played it back in like 2016, I think. And and it was actually I think the first game that put me into a moral dilemma as a player. Like to get its story across, you had
Mhm.
no other choice but to choose the medium of a game because you are inputting the actions of this player and you're responsible. You're facing the consequences of your actions. There's a lot of routes, and you can choose to be good or evil essentially, and uh, it's very funny. There's very lovable characters. Uh,
Stands.
it's yes. Sans is awesome.
Yeah.
They've got very. He's got a very funny brother as well. Yeah, it's been a while since I've played it, but it was challenging. It was mechanically difficult, especially beating him. Uh, but it's definitely very unique in the fact that it was made by like one person with another person for art. I think, but it was like a very incredible game for how little people were working on it, and uh, it's it's one that I remember like very very fondly because of how let's see the levels it was actually very interesting because it had a lot of replay value. It was a very short game. It was like I think I finished it in like 15 hours because it was meant when you replay it you can choose a new route when you restart, and so it's a very nice game in the fact that it's very easy to digest. You can play through it again and again, and you know where you're going. You can solve puzzles faster if you play it over again. So, but yeah,
I'll
that's
talk about it just
yeah,
really briefly.
sure.
It didn't make my top 10, but that is a very good game. And I will say, like you said, anyone who's played that game will not forget playing it. And
Hmm.
probably till they die. It is such
All
for
right,
for
you
such for such a small development team, like you said, it was only two people to create such a unique experience that no other person's really tapped into is takes an unbelievable amount of talent, unbelievable amount of creativity, energy that I mean, hats off to them. Great game. Love
Thanks.
that game.
Josh, you sold me. I just bought it and downloaded it off of Steam.
Nice.
There we go. Wow. Cheers, man. Cheers.
Yeah, let me know what you think.
Yeah.
Just the soundtrack alone is worth the buy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Incredibly unique. Love that game.
Mhm.
Anything else you want to say about it, Josh?
That's all.
All right, moving in to our number nines.
Can I do mine first?
Oh, of course.
Mine is Outer Worlds, the Outer
Okay, there we
Worlds.
go.
So there it is. So I've said my
Wonderful.
piece about
So
it,
ours are
but yeah,
very close. Ours are
very
close.
close. Yeah, I've got it at number 9.
Yeah, if you haven't played the game, go play it. It's great. I don't think we have anything else to say about it unless you want to say anything, Jake, about the other
Nope.
worlds.
Yeah,
All right.
great game.
My number 9 is going to be, and this game was not on my original top 10 list, but once I remembered it, I snuck it in. Stardew
Wow.
Valley. The
Oh
best.
yeah.
Man, dude. This is my favorite retro game of all time. I've replayed through this game probably about 3 times. Apologies for the camera again. I'm going to work on that. I probably played it through it about 3 times. It has, I mean, it's the best farming game of all time, hands down. Nothing's even close. It's amazing in that department with how like complex and intricate all the different systems in the game are working, but how simple it looks and how pleasing it is to look at to the eyes, and how you get to see your progress every day with how much work you put in seeing your plants grow. And it's amazing. It's a really fun game. It's got great characters. Again, the level of complexity to this game with how simple and retro it looks is incredible. It's incredible. Like Josh said with Undertale, it's got a great soundtrack. It like every day it has like a new different little fun beat going on, and it's really fun. It's probably like the only, yeah, it's about the only casual game I'm going to mention where you can just like play it while you're eating chips and stuff. But it definitely holds a special place in my heart. I've played through this game so many times. I'm always down to play it when people are like, hey, because they have multiplayer now, which is super cool. I've always been down to play that. But yeah, it's a really fun game. Really great. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to mention about it.
I have a question, Pax. We played this actually before. I don't know if Jacob's played it, but I'm curious if is there an ending to that game, or is it just you play for the experience of farming?
There's milestones you get. So you'll get like married, you'll get kids, you'll become mayor of the town, etc., etc. But there is no true ending. Where you'll see credits and you won't be able to play on the farm anymore. But the farm gets huge. I mean, you can sink so many hours into that game and find new content, find new ways and stuff. I mean, really, you can keep playing forever. So, great game. Love that game. Yeah.
You move too much. You squirm too much for your camera.
Is that what it is? Is it because I'm doing this?
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing what's going on.
I think it's the lighting. If it keeps happening, I'm turning off the lights and
maybe
turn off these lights.
Yeah, it's trying to focus over there.
But yeah, Stardew Valley, love that game. Huge shout out. I mean, I think Team 17 made it, and they're a pretty small development team too. But the level of complexity they put in such a simple game, I love it. I love it. That's all I have to say.
Alrighty, I will go then. My number 9, you all have heard of it. It's Nier Automata. Yes. So this game also has probably in the top 5 best soundtracks of all games of all time, in my opinion.
It's really good. Yeah.
Yes, it's just I can't even describe, like the composers are just beyond us. The gameplay is beautiful. It's so fluid. The graphics are amazing. And don't even get me started on the plot. Like I'm not going to spoil too much, but it's a critique on literally all of human philosophy for all time, and it has so many references to the Bible, and you don't even expect it. It seems like a hack and slash game, and you just explore a world and you just do the next thing that's important in the main quest. But there's so much depth to it all. It's so deep, and it's really, the voice acting is just, it really draws emotion out of you. And
I think if we want, we can spoil. Pax, you've played it, right?
I have not. And funny story.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a funny story real quick about Nier. Josh, 2 years ago, got me this game. He bought it for me for Christmas. I unboxed it, and it was a PlayStation 4 game, like a disc. I don't have a disc anymore, so that game has sat on my shelf for 2.5 years, unopened. And I still
like blurry Paxton. Just we can roll with it.
I'm gonna unplug the lights and see what that does. If that helps. But yeah, I haven't played the game, but I don't mind it being spoiled. Although I do still plan to play it.
You don't expect.
Hey, look it.
Wait. I don't even want to spoil it for Jake because I think. No. Jake finished. Right. No. I'm not going to spoil it.
I haven't finished everything. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not going to spoil it. Not because of the audience, but because of the people here that I wish to finish. That I wish that they would finish the game. So, but you don't. There's just too many plot twists. You don't. You're not going to expect it. So I'm gonna. Yeah, that's all I have to say. That's all I can say.
Very cool. Very cool. So I guess that goes to my number 8. Unless Jake, you want to talk about Nier at all?
No, yeah, I love the game. Yeah, it's not on my top 10 or honorable mentions. Probably more for like combat reasons. Maybe. But but I love the story. I love the characters. There are moments when I just kind of like soak it in, if that makes sense, where
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not really like advancing the plot or doing a whole lot. I'm just kind of, yeah, taking a step back and
Very
enjoying.
cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. I will get around to that some decade here. I'll play it on my long list of games to play. But anyways, for my number 8 of all time, I feel like this is the biggest surprise of my whole list. I really do.
I'm gonna
But
dig into you for it, man. I'm gonna.
okay, I don't feel like it's a hot take, but it's
I'll
something
see.
that's very unique-ish. But when I was really thinking about it and really thinking about previous games I've played, I feel like it really had to make it on there. It's the Titanfall 2 campaign exclusive, even though the multiplayer is very good. Titanfall 2 campaign. This is the hands down. I can't say hands down because I haven't fully played through the Halo campaign, but it is one of the best FPS story games ever made. For me, it's my favorite of all time. I mean, nothing comes close. The combat's great. The world's amazing. The story is like, it's unforgettable. I mean, the way you interact with mechs and then you jump out of mechs, and every time you just feel like an unstoppable boss in the world. It's a great feeling. Have any of you guys played Titanfall 2, the campaign?
I've put about an hour into it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Steven and I played a little bit of it. Yeah, a little bit of the campaign.
Interesting.
But I didn't have any complaints about it. It just,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, never stuck with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, it's been a while since I've played it, so there's not a ton I remember about it. Well, I remember the overarching story and stuff, but as far as specifics go, not a ton. But it's amazing. It's super unique. The way you slide against walls, it's just a very fluid game that feels very fun to play. Yeah, I remember playing it for the first time, and I couldn't put it down until I finished it. And that's one of the big reasons that some games make it onto my top 10 and some don't. It's games that when I played, I could not get enough of. And that's kind of what separates the good from the greats, and this is what I want to talk about with the honorable mentions. A lot of those honorable mentions I love, and they have such a special place in my heart, but I don't remember not being able to get enough of it. And I was able to like put it down for a month and come back to it, you know?
Yep.
The games I'm talking about now are games that once I picked up, I completely fell in love with, and it took over my life for like a day, a week, whatever.
Yeah.
And this is one of them where that's the only game I played till I finished the campaign, and that's why I felt like it deserved a spot. Granted, it's not the longest campaign, probably like 20, 15 hours, but I loved it, so that's why it's on there.
I don't think that's a super hot take. From what I've heard about Titanfall 2, the campaign, I know other people, other friends who absolutely loved it, and that's why Steven and I started playing it, because it was a recommendation from Steven's friend.
Very cool. Yeah, that's about all I had to say, unless you guys have questions about it. But Jacob, take it away with your number 8.
My number 8. I'm curious if Paxton will have this one on his list.
Ooh.
He introduced me to it. Just like The Outer Worlds, it is The Wolf Among Us.
Not on my list.
Not on your list.
But
wow.
I'm so happy we're going to talk about it. I'm so happy.
I haven't heard of this one.
Once again, this is a Telltale game, and so it's like decision-based storytelling, and it's about Bigsby. Is it Bigsby or Bigby?
I think it's Bigby.
Bigby. It's about Bigby Wolf. So
dude, I think it's Bigby. I don't know, dude.
No, it's Bigby. I just looked it up. It's Bigby.
Okay, thank goodness.
The Bigby
like
Wolf.
Idiots.
It's a bunch of like
fairy tale
characters. So you have like Ichabod Crane. You have Mr. Toad. Lots of characters like that you would read in your books as a kid.
But it's not a kid game.
It's not a kid game though. But you play a detective basically. So you are the big bad wolf. And you play a detective. I don't really want to spoil it. It's not a super long game, probably 15 hours, maybe. I don't remember it being very long, but
you're in a modern world.
The art in it is really, really good. The characters are fleshed out. The decision making is great. I remember like regretting certain decisions I'd made and be like, "Oh man, I wish I didn't do that." I don't think I wanted the character to go that route, and I'm like, so. There's like just a great and the focus is on the big bad wolf and his storyline, but he's also trying to figure out this case, and some people believe he's kind of all washed up, not what he used to be, because he's depressed and just not as good as he was in his prime, and he's got a lot of enemies too, and has to make a lot of tough decisions, find allies to help him solve a case. I don't really want to talk about the case or the plot itself, but it's really good. You get invested in it, and it is one of those games that I was just stuck to. I think in a week, I think I played the whole game in a week.
Wow. Okay.
Because I just had to know. Every night I'd get on and play a little bit more.
That game's amazing. I will
really
say,
good.
Anyone who says The Walking Dead Telltale is better, shut up. I don't want to hear it. The Wolf Among Us is better. And if you say The Walking Dead is better, you haven't played The Wolf Among Us. Walking Dead's great. Don't get me wrong. But The Wolf Among Us is amazing.
The art is really good too. So the character designs, the way they look is beautiful. Yeah.
There's very memorable, intense moments in that game too, where you're gonna be on the edge of your seat, which is really a cool feeling to feel in a game. One more thing about the game. What's so cool about it is it's like it's a very mature game. So like you'll walk into a room and you'll see like the Toad just like smoking cocaine or something. Like it's got a ton of. It's just a cool vibe where it's just like
it was hard, right?
It's like you're in Los Angeles, but like you're with all these Disney not Disney fairy tale characters, but they're all doing like very mature and normal things you'd see in LA, and it's funny. It's dark.
But yeah, you do feel like it's choose your own adventure type storybook that you're walking through, but with very like real and gritty characters.
Really
and cool. Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah.
Josh?
Well then, it is time for me to announce number 8, which is you guys know
really
very
set
well.
That up.
He's really setting it up.
No, I know what it is.
You know what it is. It's Genshin Impact. Now hold on.
Actually, if you've got to leave the room for a little bit for this one, if you can't handle it, I
might just need to step out,
bruh.
But I'll let you plead your case.
Okay. First of all, you might not know this. It's a free game. It's literally free. That's amazing.
Wait. It's not pay to win. It's not pay to win.
You don't have to pay, but you could pay, but you don't have to.
Have you paid?
I have paid for skins, but not for actual items. If that makes sense.
Okay.
But
are you gonna leak how much you've spent on this game?
Probably like $30.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say like 500 or something.
No. I'm kind of free to play as much as I can be, but I do want to get stuff that I'm guaranteed to get because it's a gacha game. So it's like you get chances to get stuff and you might not. So I don't like that gambling part of it, but what I spent my money on is stuff that I can certainly get. But anyways, that's not important. The important part is what I value about the game, which is, first of all, soundtrack beautiful. I always come back to the music. Music is really valuable for me. The plot is amazing. I'm just going to give a brief summary. It's like you're traveling in different worlds, different dimensions with your sister or your brother, depending on who you choose. You get captured by a god, and your sibling gets sent forward in the future 500 years, and you also get killed by this, or you just like lose consciousness, and you wake up on this world, and you find this guide, and you have these 7 gods that live on this world, and you're trying to find out what happened to your brother or your sister, and you have no idea what happened. You're transported 500 years in the future. You see that this brother is leading this like abyss organization that has a main goal of overthrowing Celestia, which is some higher dimension that these 7 gods on the world submit to, and there's these like unknown laws that have been broken in the past. And there's so much that's going on with the plot. I'm not even scratching the surface. It's probably in the top 5 best plots I've ever seen in any game. Okay.
Oh, he really left. Wow. Josh, you weren't. You can keep going. You weren't convincing him.
Where?
That was not.
Okay. It was kind of funny though. It was kind of funny.
Was that intentional?
That was not intentional at all. I'm sorry.
It was kind of funny though. It was just when I finished my rant. So
that's good.
So just like Jake said with Nier Automata, like there's a lot of places where you could just sink it just sinks in. Like you see the sunset, you're on top of a mountain, the exploration. This is an adventure game, and there's so much. The graphics are beautiful. You just sit on a mountain and see the sunset. It's just
I
like,
have one
wow.
thing. I have one thing to ask you.
Sure.
And you know what it is. I'm gonna phrase it as a question, not as an accusation.
Okay.
Defend this on why this isn't a game for weebs. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. Defense. Tell me.
So
it's not a game for weebs.
The company is literally has a motto, and it's called "Tech Otakus Save the World." So it's literally
you're not doing a great job of defending it.
Unabashedly designed for weebs. It's unabashedly designed for weebs. There's no defense. I can't make a defense.
Wow.
There's no
All
defense.
Right, listen. I'm not going to judge, but I am going to judge.
Okay.
I'm glad it makes.
So Paxton, hold on. I want to point this out right now. Is you are effectively judging the entire weeb nation.
Maybe I'm not judging. I'm asking.
No, you are claiming yourself an enemy of weebs.
No, I didn't, because I'm asking for a defense on why it's not. Because I'm not
right,
saying
but there's an assumption there.
I'm not saying
there's an assumption there that there's a negative connotation about weebs.
You mentioned it, not me, brother. You mentioned it, not me.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that on another episode of the podcast where we talk all about weebs, which is appropriate for the SIMP podcast. I think eventually we were going to have to talk about weebs. So.
I agree with that.
Well, good defense. Anything else?
Yeah, let me see. So I mentioned music, exploration, plot. There's so much like you can play daily. There's always stuff to do daily. It's a great RPG. There's a very strong sense of growth and empowerment as you continue playing. And obviously I have to talk about the gacha. Like, you got these characters that are so nicely designed. The plot that they're involved in, how they mesh with the overarching main quest, the Archon quests, the most important quests. They make you want to roll for them and see if you can get them and play as them, because you really like them. So you can hang out with them. There's just like these quests where you can focus on that one character. It's such a great character focused game as well. But that's all I'll say about Genshin. I mean, I can go forever.
I do appreciate those elements where you can like collect characters and get to know them and stuff.
Yeah, that last bit almost makes me want to pick it back up again. I played it for I played it for about like a week, and then I dropped it.
When did you start? I'm just curious.
When it first came out.
Like 2019? Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, I started a while ago. Yeah. It didn't hit for me.
I also played it for about a few days, and the main thing that I came away thinking of was, wow, this feels a lot like Legend of Zelda.
That's a common accusation, yeah.
That's not the first time anyone's going to hear that. That's not a shocking take.
It's a compliment, though, right?
I haven't played it.
It kind of feels like a Wish.com version of Legend of Zelda, but it's fine. It wasn't like a bash. It was just like, I've seen all these mechanics before. But...
One last thing. I think Paxton was there when this was announced. It was last year. The Game Awards. It won the best mobile game, which is incredible because the map is absolutely massive. It's an adventure game, and that all fits on the phone. It's like 30 gigabytes or something, and it somehow works. So I found that incredible engineering. So,
that is huge for a phone, by the way. A 30 gigabyte game for a phone is insane.
Yeah.
That is huge.
They made it work. But yeah, that's it.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. I think you're going to make a lot of people happy with putting that on your list. Because a lot of people love that game. But, are you done?
I'm done.
You're number 8. Perfect. Time for our number 7. Getting close to the top 5, gentlemen. But number 7 for me. And I don't feel like this game's going to be much of a surprise for anyone. I think the only surprise is that it's kind of on the higher end, but it's going to be Spider-Man, the original PS4.
Oh.
I think it's 2018 version. Yeah, Game of the Year, Spider-Man. Quick disclosure, I have not played Spider-Man 2, and if I have, I'd probably link it together and make it like a Spider-Man 2, but I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. But what I will say is, very briefly, Spider-Man Miles Morales does not make it on the list for a very particular reason, and that's why the story sucks. Miles Morales' story sucks, alright? You heard it here first. It does not make it on my top 10 list. Don't misconception that I've added my top 10 list. It's not there. It doesn't even deserve an honorable mention. Not a horrible game, but It's not here. Let me talk about 2018. That Spider-Man game is amazing. I'm going to probably say this a few more times, but this is one of these games where I played over my Christmas break, and I just remember every single day waking up, and I couldn't wait to fire up my PlayStation and just press play on the game and get back in that world and explore and just swing around as Spider-Man. And I played with my dad. My dad was right next to me, and that's such a fond memory of me and him just like getting super excited when supervillains would come on stage and like finally beating them. And just swinging. I mean, just swinging around New York in that game is so fun. Like they made every element of this game so much fun. It has such an emotionally drawing story as well. Actually, I think Jacob's gonna play this game, so I probably won't give any spoilers because it's a really good game and you guys should play it. But there's the ending is so hard hitting, so amazing, so it just comes together so nicely. All the voice acting was very well done. What else was great about this game? Very well paced as well. There's a ton of characters, but they all feel very fleshed out, and none of them feel just crammed in just to be there, which is really cool. I think it retells the classic Spider-Man story in a very unique and different way that's engaging enough to draw in very rabid like Spider-Man fans that know the story. I think it's different enough that it's gonna still suit your palate, and I really love it. The combat, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone listening's heard about Spider-Man combat. If you haven't played it, it's very unique. It's like nothing else. It's a lot like the Batman games, but so much more versatile where you're jumping around, flying through the sky. The finishers are incredibly satisfying. The combat never gets old. And an unforgettable game for me. I love the original Spider-Man. Still can't wait to play Spider-Man 2, but I just haven't had the time. Hopefully this Christmas break. That's my plan. Another Christmas break, played over Christmas break, so I'm really excited. But yeah, definitely holds a special place.
I've seen scenes of that game just swinging in the cities, like that whole mechanic
looks awesome.
I don't know if there's been any other games other than Spider-Man where you can travel like that exactly.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it's so fun to watch. Just watch.
I know, like it's just so fluid, and like it's funny is they have a fast travel in the game, and I never use it. It's like I'd rather just swing to where I need to be because it's so much fun.
What console did it first come out on?
It came out on the PlayStation 4 originally. I mean, obviously it's on the PlayStation 5. I think yes, there is a PlayStation 5 version, and it's on PC now, which is very cool.
Okay,
it's on Steam. So
because I have played. Do you remember when it came out? Because I have played a handful of Spider-Man games.
It's gonna be the newer one, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Very good.
All right.
Very, very good game. Everything together very well in that game. And that's it.
Yeah. I think I would love it if I played it. So
cool. Add it to your long list
nothing
too.
more to say. Yeah, add it to my list.
All right.
My number 7. I'm curious. I'm imagining one or maybe both of you have heard of this. An indie game, What Remains of Edith Finch.
Absolutely. I played that game because of you, Jake.
You did? Did you like it?
I loved it. Oh,
it's
man.
so good.
I'm happy it's on your list because I love to talk about it.
Yeah, so this is another narrative-driven game where you are going back to like I don't know if it's your parents' or your grandparents' house, but it's like the family house, and it's this like old, I don't know, Victorian style house maybe with lots of secret rooms and even like a tree house that kind of comes off of it. Just this very creative, alive feeling house. And you basically go through the house and it walks you through the lives of your family tree. So your relatives, your parents, your grandparents, and it puts together the whole like family story. So you're like the last, I think, family member alive, and you're going through their stories. But when you learn of each family member's story, the puzzle or the gameplay is different for every single one.
Really different.
And it's incredible. That's what makes it stand out. That's what makes it incredible. Like the story is good, but how they tell the story is different for each character that you're exploring. So you'll like go into a room, explore that character, and then you'll enter into like a little game where you're learning about that character through the game and their storyline. So sometimes it might be more of like platform, At one point, you turn into a shark and you're like flopping around
in the bathtub. You're part of the
yeah.
bathtub.
So
Yeah,
it
so
gets
cool.
wild sometimes.
But it makes sense. If you play the game, it makes sense.
I
Okay.
think there are some times where you have like top-down view video games. I forget all the different types, but
Yeah.
I just remember every time you're learning about a new family member, it switches the type of gameplay and the type of puzzle solving, and
Yeah.
it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's like nothing else. It's a very sad game, but
It's very
the
sad.
best way
Yeah,
possible.
it's dark, it's somber. Probably another reason why I like it. It gives off some sad vibes.
Because each of the
But
family
there's
members,
some
each of the
happy moments.
each of the family members, you kind of learned how they. I believe each family member dies
Yeah.
tragically, and you kind of discover how
Yeah.
how their lives come to an end. And then there's kind of a spoiler at the end. I think you figure out how she dies in the end, right? Or she figures out how she dies, or she does die.
Are we really wanting to spoil it?
I don't. I mean, I should have given a spoiler warning. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Unhinged. But it's something like that, something along those lines.
It's something along that's not quite that, but
Okay.
yeah, in a way. I
But yeah,
don't want to spoil it too much.
I did
But
play that
yeah.
game because you recommended it, and I remember loving every second of it. So
Yeah, it's a game that captures your attention because it's very different than anything else you've played before. Even for an indie game and even for a narrative-driven game, the way they tell the story is very unique. Yeah, it's great. A lot of passion put into it. You'll like certain parts better than others, but each part is not going to last super long. So even if you don't like it, if you don't enjoy it as much, you'll be through it in not too long, and then you'll move on to exploring a different part of the house and another character on the family tree. And you don't, I think there is like a rough order, but you don't have to do all the family members in order.
Yeah.
I like that creative, like we're more that leaving the player to choose how they want to experience the story.
Explore the story.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
All right, Josh, number 7.
Alrighty, guys, you're gonna be kind of disappointed. I'm gonna have to say League
Again?
of Legends.
What?
League of Legends.
No way League makes it higher than Genshin for you. Wait, what?
Well, okay, that's a great point. So for the
Why
audience,
League of Legends? Yeah, I mean everybody knows League of Legends.
Yes. Well, the thing is, it was really my teen game. Like that's the game I played in my teen years, and I've like Jake mentioned, like there's so many memories I have with friends. That is a team game. It's a team cooperative game. It's a MOBA. So you've got turrets and you're trying to destroy the enemy base before your base gets destroyed. You have abilities. You can coordinate with your team. There's like a fog of war, so you can look at a map and see where the enemies are. They might jump out of a bush if you don't see them. And there's such a high skill cap. There's so many little things you can learn, logical things you can apply to the game. Like, oh, if he's not there, we must do this objective. Prioritization. There's so much going on in your mind when you're playing it. It's mechanically difficult. It can be if you choose to make it so. But it's very entertaining, and really the main thing is just the sheer amount of time I've sunk into that game is such that I think it should be in my top 10 of all time just because of how much time I've spent. Like I'm pretty sure it's going to be probably over 1,000 hours. I can't even estimate it. They don't count it, but yeah, so many memories, so much time spent, and it's really a fun game if you can like see progress. Like you can actually see yourself grow, get better. So that's very fun.
Yeah, that game has challenged me more than I've never been able to be successful at that game, not even close. It's extremely challenging, and there's so much that goes into it. Even my college this week it has a math course that is centered around League of Legends. How they teach math through League.
Fascinating.
When it comes down to League's all about numbers and how different things you add to your character, add this kind of numbers, whatever. It's unbelievable. Once you actually start understanding what the game is, it's unbelievable. Way above what I can master, but that's cool. That was your team experience.
Yeah, and Jacob, have you like played it ever? You ever dabble?
Yeah, no, I've dabbled in League. I'm not very good at it, and I haven't put many hours into it. So I used to play some old Dota games as well, and be way before League. So I'm familiar with the format, and I've always enjoyed it, but I've never got sucked into it.
Mhm.
My guess is probably because I treasure like story and the storylines,
Yeah.
and that's a big deal to me. So that game just never sucked me in that case. But
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anything else you want to say about League, Josh?
Um, yeah, this is probably the only game here where it's not like it doesn't have either good story or good music, and it's also commonly said that the player base is toxic, and I can agree with this. You don't want to talk to the enemy, and your teammates will flame you. So you have to have a thick skin to play this game. It's just a fair assessment. But that's all I'll say about League.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a one I did not expect to see on your list actually, and I'm not disappointed because a lot of people like that game. So
Mhm.
cool stuff. All right, for my number 6, I know I'm not going to be the only one, and I think both of you might have this on your top 10 as well. I mean, it's a game everyone's heard of. It's the most bought game of all time, Minecraft. I mean, I think the only surprise is that this game is so high on my list, and I was kind of surprised by that too. But I thought this was the proper place to put it. Does anyone else have?
I am glad you have Minecraft on your list because this absolutely needed to be talked about. It is
Yeah.
not on my list at
Is it
all.
on yours, Josh?
It's number 5 for me. It's actually right above
Alright,
League of Legends.
so we can both talk about
Right.
this.
Yeah.
This game, I kind of, when I was talking about my background, I kind of didn't mention this, but I really should have because, oh my goodness, have I played just an unbelievable amount of Minecraft. This game is like no other game in history. It's incredible. It's amazing. I love it. Like when you talk about memories, there's no game like Minecraft, dude.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about memories, there's no game like Minecraft. But yeah, it's like the freedom to do whatever you want. I've started a new survival
Do
world.
you remember when it first was like in production and you could get it for like a couple bucks and it was
No,
just being developed?
I played it like once it got into the Pocket Edition, and then I played it on through the Pocket Edition for a while, and then I got PC and I played PC for a while. So I wasn't there at the beginning.
I played in 1.4 when Redstone was released. So it was kind of early,
yeah.
but yeah, not in
Yeah,
alpha.
I remember when it first came out and I did not get it at the time. I thought about it because I was like, wow, that sounds like really unique and really cool. And then like not too long, it just started taking off. But yeah.
I will say another major driving factor to me loving this game is pretty much as a child and as an early teenager, all the content creators I was soaking up at that time were all Minecraft YouTubers. Like, dude, I felt like I knew these Minecraft content creators. I'm not gonna shout out any of their names, but I felt like I knew them. I watched them so much, and they were such a large part of my life. Where I'd see something they're doing in the game.
Dude, I did not know this about you at all. That you were watching
no.
so many Minecraft creators.
It was massive, dude.
Yeah,
It was massive. And actually, there's one guy in particular that there was one point in my early teenage years that was actually a really hard time for my family, and I remember very distinctly during that time, I'd literally just sit down, watch this guy, and I'd forget about all that for a little bit, and he would just take me to another world, and I love him to death, and every time I'd see something as a kid, see something he did in Minecraft, I would go do it myself, like right after that, because it was just like, wow, that's so cool. That's so cool. I want to do that. And I've played, Minecraft Realms, Minecraft server mini games. Those are incredible, timeless. Anything Minecraft related, I've just soaked it up, and it's a game I'm never gonna forget. Just seriously, never gonna forget.
Yeah. Let me talk some about this as well. Like you briefly mentioned it, like mini games, multiplayer, Hunger Games. Do you understand Minecraft Hunger Games and how vital that was to my development psychologically?
Whoa, okay, I think we need to get into this.
That can't be a good thing.
We need to get into this, Josh.
Especially what
are you talking about, dude?
No, okay, that was a little too much. But
the way you set up things, it sets off like 20 questions start like flashing in my mind.
That's good. That's good. Gotta make you think.
What do you mean by that, Josh?
Well, okay, so like, you ever just go into a lobby and you call your friends like on the telephone? You didn't even have Discord back then, right? You just set your home phone on the desk speaker, and you're like, let's get into the same Hunger Games lobby and win. We will collude together and have a 1v1 final battle. That was like my preteen years. That was beautiful. Like, and so that was what I really liked about Minecraft. But also another thing I was going to mention the modding community. I have run
Oh,
a yes, the Feed the Beast and that whole family. Yes, so I've run a Feed the Beast server for my college friends. We still play Minecraft. Minecraft is so relevant even after all this time. And you can make like nuclear reactors, you can make all sorts of electronics, you can mine bedrock and actually use materials, you can use guns, like I can't even name all of it. But
you can't.
there's another thing, there's another aspect of the creativity part, which is not just using blocks as pieces of art to make structures, but redstone, like and hoppers and these interactive items that you can use to move and transport things. I actually built like a clock that like you make a redstone circuit, you put a torch down, you take it out, and it loops the signal, and you can make such like people have there are YouTube videos where people have made computers that run
I've seen that
Minecraft
one.
in Minecraft,
That's
right?
my.
People make
insane.
calculators, people
That's
make
insane.
printers, like
That's insane.
it boggles the mind that it's literally I think so improved Minecraft is Turing complete. You can literally make any program inside of Minecraft. Isn't that
Wow.
I can't
You can't wrap your head around that. You can't.
that's ridiculous. I just there's so much that you can do with that game. It's amazing.
I love that you brought up mods because mods is again just so huge. That's
Yeah.
such a big part of the thing. The mod that I grew up on and just loved and couldn't never get enough was Crazy Craft. I don't know if you've heard of Crazy Craft.
I haven't.
That's the one that I was just.
What's it about?
Yeah. It's just a super big mod pack where it just has like everything, like literally everything from like turrets to helicopters to there's a
Wow.
Godzilla that walks around the world. I mean,
Wow.
it's a very chaotic world that you're gonna die in every day, and it's gonna make you want to smash your head against a wall. But it's so much fun. I love it. But I think what I wanted to briefly say about Minecraft and the reason it didn't, even though I've probably played this game more than any other game except for one on the list, the reason it's so high is because when I think about Minecraft now in the past, probably about 2 years, I've had no desire to play that game, and I don't see myself ever playing that game again because I don't like the direction that they've taken the game, and I just find it very uninteresting, very bland. I don't like the game anymore, and that's not to discredit how much it meant to me earlier. It just means, and I guess it's a little bit of recency bias, but I just don't feel like I want to play that game ever again, and it's just I don't know. That's why it's number 6 for me. But wow, it's one of the greatest of all times. It deserves to be here, 100%.
And one more thing that wasn't mentioned: the soundtrack, the music, like that stuff goes hard. Like that is
Minecraft.
yes.
I mean, it's nostalgic. I wouldn't say it's amazing. It's nostalgic,
No,
but it's not.
Have you listened to Sweden or Hagstrom? Like those are great pieces. I just maybe it's my type of music, but like
DM them to me or something like that, Josh. I'll take a look at them at some point because I am curious.
I know they're very nostalgic. I don't remember them being masterpieces or anything.
well, they're simple, but yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah.
Jake, is there anything you didn't really talk about Minecraft? Is there anything you want to say?
No, I enjoyed Minecraft, but I never got sucked into it. Yeah. I've enjoyed playing it with other people, having different realms where you go with your friends and all build stuff, and that's fun. Yeah, I've had good experiences with them, but I never got really deep into it.
Yeah. All right, try to move along. But Minecraft has definitely been just a huge part of my gaming life and gaming experiences. So big shout out to them. Obviously, you've all heard of it. Obviously, you all have your own experiences, and you all can, say how amazing it is. Jacob, you're number 6.
My number 6, and this is the only one of this franchise that is on here. There are a lot of them. The others I think are okay. This is the only one I've actually finished. No, I finished the first one too. Assassin's Creed 2. I think I'm trying to remember if I played the first one. I think I started playing the first one and then dropped it, picked up the second one, and played it all the way through to the end. I loved it. So this is the Enzo storyline. I thought the storyline was really good. The pacing was good too. I think some of the Assassin's Creed games, their pacing gets really wild and really crazy, and you get stuck in areas for way too long. Just the stealth combat was really fun and just really polished. It was the first time I had played a game other than the first one that was like that. But the combat was a blast. I just love as well going around the city. I'm trying to remember if this one was Rome. I can't remember what the setting
I don't
was
think it'd
for
be
this one.
Rome because
No, I don't think it was Rome.
that's Odyssey.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna look it up. But I even enjoyed that, like the old architecture and climbing these old buildings and like reading the history of them. Like I even got sucked into that of how the game takes you into these historical areas, and um, that's always been cool. And it's always been a reason for me to get other Assassin's Creed games and play them. But some of the other games, like I just played them to explore that part of the city and run around and kill people in that part of the city, these old historic places. But this one, just the gameplay and the storyline itself and the pacing, like it was the most complete out of all of them. The other ones, they got carried away or just bumbled with certain aspects of the game. But this one, I felt like it really didn't do anything wrong in my perspective.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't.
Kind of crazy.
This is an older
Black
one.
Flag isn't on there.
What's that?
Kind of crazy you didn't choose Black Flag. But,
Yeah, I did not like Black Flag that much.
Wait, you did? You actively? Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know why. I would have to take a deeper like look back into that. It is possible that just the Assassin's Creed gameplay just got old for me. Like it wasn't really reinventing the wheel anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so number 2 was great
The freshest.
and the freshest, and that was like my first introduction and experience with it. There's one part at the end where you're running across ramparts up on top of these walls, and you're just like fighting. You're on your horse, off of your horse. You're going through wave upon wave, and it was different. It was like all the different types of enemies you had faced throughout the game were in this like last part of this wall lead up to the very final fight and to the very final part of the story. And so it was like a culmination of everything you had learned in how to fight, and you just ran through all of them, and it was great. It was fantastic. So just a great gaming experience for me. I think some of the games even that were before this that I mentioned might overall be a better game, but I just had a blast playing Assassin's Creed, walking around.
Very
and
cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah. No, Black Flag. I played that. Love that. Never played 2 though, so that's cool.
Yep.
Josh. Sorry. You're number.
It's hard to tell the difference.
6.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
6.
Because Minecraft was 5 for you, right?
Well, yeah. So I have to say Minecraft here, so I'll skip.
No. So
No, do your 6
Minecraft.
and then
What
we'll
was
skip your
before
5.
Minecraft? What was?
Oh, well, I said League of Legends and then Minecraft. So I'm going above Minecraft now, right?
Oh,
Whatever
really?
your 6
Oh,
is.
okay. Was 6 League of Legends?
Six was Minecraft for me.
Oh, then we shared it. You said Minecraft was 5. Okay.
Wait, can I count?
Okay. We'll skip. We'll move on to number 5. I think
No,
as
no,
long as you don't
Then I'll
have
do my
anything
5.
Minecraft
besides.
is 6 for me, so I have a number 5.
Okay, then we're to my number 5 because
Okay.
Minecraft was 6 for both of us.
Yep. We're on to
Okay.
number 5. We're on to the top 5. Okay.
Top 5.
Let's
Ladies
go.
and gentlemen, let's go. My number 5, and again, this one's not going to be that much of a surprise. It's a game you've all heard of, but I mean, what can I say? The great games are great games, and I'm not going to stop singing the praises of this game, and that is God of War, particularly the newer ones for the PlayStation. I think it was 2018 and 2022 was Ragnarok came out. Yeah, both of them. I'm putting them both on here. I will say I've thought about it a lot, and I probably liked the 2018 one a little more than Ragnarok, but Ragnarok was still unforgettable. But these games are... I actually never did play the originals, so I can't talk much about them, but these games are just... There's so much to love about them. Like, the worlds, the Norse mythology, the overall story, the characters, the voice acting is probably the best I've ever seen in a video game for Kratos. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard his voice. That guy.
Manly man.
I do want to say that I feel like a lot of more modern video games, especially like the big name ones, are pumping out stellar voice acting performances. Like
Putting way
it's
more
been
emphasis
getting
on that.
really, really good on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, the combat in this game is brutal and just satisfying and incredible in every way possible. The enemy types are very diverse, so every world you go to, the enemies are going to be acting differently, attacking differently, and you kind of have to adapt to that, and that's always really fresh and fun. All the worlds are very different. You're obviously taking on a lot of gods, which is just unforgettable battles where you get to fight just the best of the best as the God of War, which is just incredible. What else is amazing about that game? There's so much. I mean, obviously, it got Game of the Year with the original. I think the second one.
Does it stick to just the single mythology, or does it combine different ones? Like, does it
It's
mix
just
up
Norse.
Penthal? Okay,
It's just
okay,
Norse. The originals is all Greek. I never played those, but I think there's
okay,
about 5 or 6 of the originals, and
okay.
that's all Greek, and then they switched to Norse. I have one sort of complaint about Ragnarok, but I'm not going to talk about it because you guys haven't played it, and you're going to play it one day. But that one's incredible as well. It does an amazing job of capturing big, huge battles and making them feel memorable and very impactful. I'm trying not to say the same thing about this game that I've said about other games. I'm trying to get more unique about it, but this game's incredible. The weapons are amazing. The way they made the weapons feel when you like throw your axe or dig your axe into an ogre or something is the most satisfying experience I've ever had in gaming. It's incredible. But I think that's all I want to say. Really good game. God of War. Deserves every bit of praise it gets. I don't really have any complaints, except for the one in Ragnarok. But that's not even that big of a complaint. But yeah, really good game. Really fun boss fights. Every boss fight feels different from the last one, and it doesn't feel like you're just fighting the same guy over and over again. All the boss fights are extremely cinematic, which I love. I think that makes it feel like you're almost in a movie, which is really cool and very different, and obviously it takes a lot of time and love to be able to create a video game like that. So I love that. I love that it's very cinematic and very visually pleasing, and yeah, it is a very, very good game.
Do any of the soundtracks stick out for you?
There's one theme song for Kratos that I'm not going to try and sing, or
Come on,
it
the
would be
people
very
want to
cringe.
hear it.
It would be very cringe, dude. Very cringe.
If
But,
we get 5 people to subscribe to this channel
5
within a week, will you sing it?
Maybe if it comes up naturally. I'm not just gonna like have that as a subscriber goal, but that's the song that comes to my mind. It's a theme where he walks in every time, and it's just like these. It's like a I forget how do you even say it. It's like a choir of men singing, and it's very it's chilling. It's a very chilling song.
Is it like tribal? Like, are they like drums?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Pretty much exactly like
gotcha.
that type of singing. But it's very, very moving. Very moving.
Nice.
Yeah, I love God of War. I think that's pretty much all I had to say about my number 5.
Okay. So I will be. Go ahead.
I want to briefly say I want to hear your number 5, but then I'm gonna go take a piss while you talk about it. But I want to hear it.
Okay. I'm staying along the same vein here. We're sticking with mythological pantheons of gods, but we're going to Greece as I have my pick of Hades.
I knew it. Awesome. I'll be right back. Talk about it though.
Josh, have you played this game?
I have not.
Okay, so it is a hack and slash game where you are the son of Hades, the prince of hell, and you are trying to leave. You are trying to get out. Your father is basically overbearing and wants you to help handle affairs in hell. And you're like, no, I want to leave and see what the world above has, what Olympus has to offer. And then the other Olympian gods, they end up trying to help you get out of Hades. And one of your goals is to find out who you are and who your birth mother is. And so you're trying to find out a little bit about your origins and where you come from. And so you play level by level, hack and slashing your way through hell, through Elysium, through the River Styx area, I believe, that goes through. Oh man, there's one other like area where it's all lava. It's like the road between Hades and Elysium. So it's steeped in Greek mythology. You're working with all the mythological gods. They'll give you boons that will help you fight your way through. But I think the thing that makes it great, and you get more powerful as you go through the levels. And in the beginning, you're going to fail. You're going to fail to get out of there again and again and again. And you basically get revived back in Hades, and you start over again. So you keep running through the same levels and starting over again. They do try to mix up the combatants that you face, and they do get more difficult as you power up and you get further along. But the art is incredible. So the designs of the characters is absolutely incredible. Visually beautiful and stunning to look at. Another one we've been saying a lot, the voice acting is really good. And then the story is just fantastic as well. And what's going on and kind of the politics between the Olympian gods and kind of the grudges that are held and why people are at odds. You start learning more and more information as you move along and as you progress. And the combat's definitely enjoyable. You get different types of weapons that you can use and you can choose from. So like one is a sword, one is a gun. Some are just like gloves. They're kind of like brass knuckles type of approach. You can get a bow, you can get a spear, a shield. So there you get to choose which item and you're leveling those up, but you get to choose, or which artifact I should say, you're using to escape with. But even those artifacts have like stories behind them, because as you unlock one, it might be like Chiron's bow or something like that you're using, or Beowulf's sword, I believe, or shield. I can't remember what is Beowulf's, but like they'll bring up a lot of other characters that will be introduced, and there's a lot of lore behind that. So it's so if you're really into mythology, it's a great game. It's a great game. Gets deep into that. If you don't like hack and slash, you're probably not gonna like it. But if you just are okay with hack and slash, I think you'll like it. I think it's a game that, yeah.
I will say there is a very good reason Hades 2 is the most wishlist game on Steam.
Yeah.
And there's a very good reason for that.
Yeah.
People are really hyped for that game. I haven't played Hades 1 very much, but what I have played, I love it. So not a lot to say, but happy it got some love.
Also, another thing I vaguely remember, I might be wrong, but I think I saw a YouTube video about how amazing the sound engineering of this game is, because if I understand correctly, you enter a room and there's just music, right? And then you start combat and it perfectly seamlessly transitions into this like battle music. That's it's like the same structure as the room music, right? Is that right?
It does, right. The music matches the room and the type of room that you're in. So like when you get to Elysium, it definitely slows down and it's more melodic. But that's like the land where people are resting and at peace, not where they're suffering. So the music changes based on the places that you're in. Also, if you're facing a boss, the music changes as well. And they have a muse in there that when you get to her, like she's always singing when you enter that room, and like as you get closer, like the singing gets louder, and there are just like little tiny things like that are really cool that they do. And some of the pieces that she sings, some of those songs, I just stop and I just listen to the whole song and then I go talk to her, because it really does hit really well. And it's so I didn't mention that, but that's absolutely true. The sounds are really great and the music is really, really good too. I don't know if there's anything it does poorly in my mind. It is a grind. It is a grind. So there are some times where you're not really advancing the story. You're just grinding through hack and slash stuff. But no, it's great.
Sounds like a great game. I'd like to try it out. Yeah, I'm like on the trigger right now.
Yeah. Nice. We're all buying games.
I'll play. Yeah, this is really just us.
We're all buying them.
This is just a podcast on us buying games, guys. It's
yeah. What game should you buy? Here, let me give you some options.
All right, Josh, time for your number 5.
Right. Okay, so this one, very special to me. It's Super Mario Galaxy. Now, Super Mario Galaxy single-handedly was the game that got me into studying piano. Like, I play piano like I do today because of that game.
Wow.
Like,
wow, that's impressive.
It's just that soundtrack. Specifically, I am referring to, yes, you've guessed it, the Gusty Garden Galaxy soundtrack. It. I, okay, so obviously I'm doing a disservice to the rest of the game by just talking about one soundtrack, right? But like,
no,
I'll get into it later. I'll get into it later. But that I would literally sit on my floor. I remember this. I was like 9 years old or something. I just sit 30 minutes, loop that soundtrack. Just I'm not even playing the level. I just put the controller down and I'm just listening. Like it that was so valuable to me through that game. So there's Good at Galaxy. There's even it like okay, Gusty Garden Galaxy was so amazing, such a pinnacle of like of all the music in that game that even in Super Mario Galaxy 2, they remixed it. Like they know it's good. They know they struck gold with that song. So it's just and even there's even other Wii games like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, um, where that soundtrack is just so popular. It's just moved everywhere because they know they like it's such a good song. I'll probably play it for you if we have time later, but like it's one of my like we can talk about favorite songs of all time. That's definitely in the top 10.
Can you talk about the game at all?
Yes, I'll talk about the game.
Okay.
No. Talk about break down the music.
Every note.
To
I've seen so many like
level.
YouTube videos on this. Okay, but on the game.
To the fundamental particles that are involved.
Right. Okay.
Connect this to string theory.
That'll be
How
tough.
does this affect your psychology as a kid?
Okay, guys. Okay. I'll change the subject. So this was in 2007. This was released. Now, 2007 is very long ago. This was a beautiful 3D game where the physics allow you to orbit planets. You can long jump on small planets and literally orbit them. And it looks beautiful. Like, I think that game was so far ahead of its time. It was on the Wii, and it just looked amazing for 2007. Like, you just look at gameplay, and it's shocking. The story was, I would say, pretty. I mean, it's a typical princess saving story. It's okay. Yeah. But it definitely explored a lot of things that previous Mario games weren't able to. That there's so many good mini games and like there's new characters. There was Rosalina.
Is that when Rosalina was?
That was when Rosalina was introduced. Like it was very important for the whole Mario franchise lore stuff, right? Like Super Mario Galaxy is really impactful in that regard.
Mm-hmm. It's tons of people's favorite Mario games, so for a good reason.
Mm-hmm. That was epic, legendary game. Would play.
Do you have any thoughts on 2?
I did play 2. I played through all of 2. And yeah, 1 is better.
Understandable.
Just gotta say it. Yeah, that's it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I'm glad Nintendo's getting a little bit of love because I feel like we're not mentioned in very much. But I never did play Galaxy though, so I'll have to check it out because that sounds fun. Okay, moving on to number 4.
Sorry, I went and listened to the song while you were talking.
Nice.
What do you think, Jake?
Okay. It's good. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's a very iconic song.
Yeah, I've definitely heard it before.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Pax.
Okay, for my number 4, this is a very popular game, and we are taking quite a bit of time, so I'm going to start rushing through some of the games I know everyone knows is good, because there's not a whole lot to say that hasn't been said already. But for my number 4, Uncharted 4. So that's really cool. This game is one notch ahead of God of War as far as where it is on my personal list, just because the story, I like stories that are real, like real stories that could like happen in the real world kind of resonate with me a little more than fantasy worlds and that kind of stuff. But unforgettable characters, unforgettable story. I will say Uncharted 2 is also worth mentioning, but it's not in the top list. Uncharted 4 is the best. It was actually the first one I ever played. And that's kind of how most people actually are introduced to the series, which is kind of funny. Most people start with 4 and then go back and play 1, 2, 3. But yeah, 4 is incredible. Incredible levels, incredible moments. I think it takes it even a step further as far as cinematic moments than even God of War does. I mean, there's a scene where you're like falling down a collapsing bell tower, and The amount of moving parts is incredible. It's amazing. Yeah, lots to say about Uncharted 4, but everyone knows it's a great game. I love it. I remember playing it with my dad. We didn't play together, but he was playing when he was next to me, and it was really fun. Really fun.
Cool. My number 4 is Inside. Have you guys played that?
I have not.
I have.
Yeah. I love that game. I think I played it through in one sitting.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long was it?
6 hours maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right around there. But yeah, I bought it that night and played the whole thing. Probably was up till like 3 a.m. It was great. I had a couple of friends, actually Eric and his girlfriend were over, and they were like watching me play. Like, oh, you should. So, do you know what kind of game it is, Josh? Are you familiar?
No, I'm not.
Platformer, indie game, puzzle,
Like
escape,
Limbo. Have you heard of
survival.
Limbo?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Limbo,
I played
just like
Limbo.
Limbo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly the same. You're trying to escape this compound where they're doing experiments on humans, and you're just this boy. I love the fact that it doesn't. There are no. There's no narrative. There's no words. There's no dialogue. So you have to like learn what's going on just through the visuals and through the different puzzles, through the experiments you see that are happening on people. I think there isn't. I know your character doesn't say anything, but I don't think any other characters say anything either.
Been too long.
But anyways, it was great. I never knew what was coming. Trying to figure out what was happening the whole time. I loved the puzzles. Like I said, I had a few friends that were sitting down, like also trying to help me, and we had a few moments, like jump scare type moments together. Times when we lost and we're yelling and freaking out as we're trying to figure out this puzzle or get past a certain, watchdog or what have you. Just a great experience. I was just hooked from the beginning to the end. That's all I got.
That's very interesting. That's came out of Left Park. I mean, I've played Inside. I know the game.
I love it.
I didn't know you have played it, and to know it's your number 4 of all time, that really surprised me. That's really cool.
I absolutely love that game.
That's awesome. Have you played Limbo by chance?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, but you weren't hooked to Limbo like Inside.
No, I think it's probably because Inside was my first experience with that type of game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. All right, Josh, you're number 4.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I played through Limbo and it was great. Maybe I could have made an honorable mention, but yeah, that brings back memories that I forgot about. So good game genre, whatever you call that. That's
yeah.
Anyways, number 4 for me was the DS game known as Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. Any players here?
Whoa, yeah, that's.
I've never heard of that.
No, I don't think I've heard of that either. That's crazy.
Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. This was my first exposure to RPG games. It's
a Mario RPG?
Yes. They make those. It's amazing. Like, you have health points, you have defense, like, you have actual statistics that you can improve as you continue playing. You can collect XP. It's amazing. So as I said, it was my first experience with an RPG. I could not put the game down. This was what I was playing between like 7 and 10 years old.
Wow.
Like on that bureau or the dresser up there, I have my DS, and that game is in it. Like that game is in my DS as we speak. It's just that is. I really thought when I immediately thought of this top 10, I was like, man, this is gonna be my top 1. Like, this is my favorite game of all time.
Oh wow!
It's like, someone's streaming.
Don't click it yet. Don't click it yet. Don't click it.
Okay.
Now click it. There you go. This is it.
Yeah. So you can play as Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. Like,
there's separate screens. What's with the separate screens?
Well, it's a DS game, so you can play on. Right.
I'm an idiot.
I've played this before.
You have?
Yeah.
What do you remember anything about it?
No, I don't. But like, this is bringing back memories. I think my sister and I would play it.
It's just looking at this screen right now. It's just bringing back so many memories, and it's amazing. It's amazing. anything else I can say. Just the fact that it was the first RPG was really just hooked me with RPGs. Like this was that's and the music was really memorable. The plot was good. You're fighting aliens, and you accidentally send yourself back in time, and you find yourself as a baby. And if your baby dies, you die, which is kind of cool.
Oh my goodness.
It actually like adheres to that time paradox. If your baby dies,
Yeah.
you die. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I'll say.
Can you click off the stream because I'm gonna stop streaming? But
Yeah.
my Discord leaked.
I'm done.
Let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna do that and stop streaming. Cool. Just letting the audience, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see that. It's cool. It sounds like a cool game.
Mhm.
I've actually never heard of that. I knew they made Mario RPGs, but didn't hear about that one. So that's cool. All right, top 3. Here
Okay,
we go.
before we go to top 3,
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to say anything about it, but maybe somebody has it in their top 3. So if they do, they can shut me up. But I wanted to shout out the Final Fantasy franchise.
Yes.
We haven't talked about it, but I wanted to shout it out. That should have been in my honorable mentions, at least a few of them. Fantastic. So I don't know if anybody has it. We can move on, but I had to at least say that. Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 7, 10. Loved them all.
You played 3. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Probably some other franchises. Resident Evil. If you've played some Resident Evil games, I played them. Good games. Deserve a shout out. Tomb Raider. Played some of the original Tomb Raiders. Very good games. So
yeah.
But those games did not also on my list. So shout out to them because they're
one more for me actually. Some other Mario games like Super Paper Mario was another
Super
RPG.
Paper Mario.
Like I love that game. Yeah, there's so many Mario games I could mention, but I'll mention that one.
That's awesome. That's really cool. All right.
Top 3, now we can move in.
This one's gonna be on my list. Obviously, be on my list, but it's my number 3 game, Overwatch, and I could talk about this for a whole episode.
Oh, jeez, please
3. I did not expect 3.
Yes, it is.
The Overwatch competitive gamer himself only puts it at number 3.
There is.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
So there's so much. I could have a whole episode talking about what I like and a whole episode talking about what I don't like. If you play this game and you're into this game, you know the complaints. You know, obviously, the developers have been a little lackluster of late, especially with the sequel. And there could be a lot to be said about that. But I'm not talking about what I don't like. I'm going to talk about what I do like. Because this game was my life. This game had literally been my life for a few years. I mean, I lived and breathed this game. It is like no other FPS game I've ever played. The animations, the way they even like the whole world looks is so it's so unique. All the characters feel so different, so unique. There's so many different elements of this game that I could go into, but it resonated me with like literally no other game I've ever touched have. And like it was from the moment I first played it. I never stopped playing it. I still play it every now and then today. But yeah, I mean, playing this game competitively is the best moments of gaming, periods, hands down. Playing this game at the top level with a team of people I loved in games, best moments I've ever had, hands down. I'm a really competitive guy, and this game helped me be able to take that competitive side of me and, live it and play it and breathe it. And it was amazing. I was a support player. I love playing support. It was great. This game taught me a lot about how to even be like a team player, how to be in a team environment, how to work with other players, how to grow with people, how to not be a toxic player. Because like League of Legends, this has a very, very toxic community, and it's a hard game. It's a very challenging game. To become the best takes a ton of dedication. I will say I was not at the very peak level of this game. I was not ever in the Overwatch League. But I was in one step below that in what was called Contenders, Overwatch Contenders, and I was on a few Contenders teams. And I love to play there, love to be there. Got to play with some way more talented guys than I'll ever be, and that was really cool. But yeah, Overwatch really resonated with me like no other game, and I don't think it's like any other game that's ever been made. Obviously, after it came out, you had games that were like it, like Paladins and stuff like that, but who cares about them?
Right. So. Question. So there's like diamond rank, right? Is that the highest rank? And tell me about, like, how do you describe the rank? Your rank.
Yeah. So all the ranks go from bronze, silver, gold, plat, diamond, masters, grandmasters, top 500.
And where do you end up?
At my peak, I was a top 500 player. I was top 500 on support in the United States. NA is what that was called, the NA servers. I was one of the best. I was an Ana player. You know what that is? Bane Sport. Ana bat player mostly. And for a lot of my career leading up to it, I was a diamond player, and then I hit masters. And once I hit masters, then I went competitive and started joining teams. And as I really got into that, I grinded up being a part of a team to top 500. And then I played competitively for probably another year, but I didn't play ranked, so my rank kind of dropped back down to a masters player, but I was still playing competitively. And now today I'm about it like a diamond player, but I don't play much.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
But
one
great
other
game.
question for you. I think there's a little bit of lore in that game, or like plot. Like, what do you have
Yeah.
any thoughts on that? Do you think it's like good part of the game, or are you not vibing with it? What do you think?
The story is I don't know the story ins and out of it. I'm not a nerd about the story, I'll be honest. I will
Okay.
say I love how the characters interact with each other, because like as you're playing the game online, like characters will have little dialogues in between each other, but like in an online setting, which is kind of cool. And like they'll talk about different story elements, but you're like in an online lobby. But the character you choose will start talking to another character someone else choose, and they're like interacting, and that was always very cool. I love the characters. The characters are so cool, so cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We had one fun shared Overwatch experience IRL with each other when we went to SummerCon here in Washington and got to meet the voice actor for Diva. And Diva is
Us
the
three.
yeah,
That's
us
right.
three. And Diva is the character I always play when I play Overwatch.
That was a
That was cool.
very special moment. We were at this
Yeah.
con, and I think that was the main reason I even went, because Jacob went a day before, and he's like, "Oh, I think I saw the voice actor for Diva," and I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, do you want to go again?" He's like, "Absolutely." And we're like, "We got to go meet her," and that was the reason we went there, and we got to meet a bunch of other really cool characters that we're gonna
Yep.
talk to later on. But yeah, we got to meet Diva, and she was really cool person. If you ever get to see her in your area, go meet her, because she's
Yep.
really sweet. But
Mhm.
yeah, Overwatch. Could talk about more, but I'm not going to. Great game.
Okay, my number 3 is also a massive game that is extremely popular, and it's what I've been playing a lot of, well, recently and within the last couple of years. I was late to the party on this game. Paxton should know what it is. This is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is number 3 on the list for me. I don't really need to get into it, and I won't for sake of time, but it's beautiful, it's stunning, open world Souls game. Love the combat. The boss battles are fantastic, a lot of fun, a lot of anger, a lot of rage quitting for the night and then picking it up the next night, or maybe rage quitting and picking it up in a week. Just great game. I know some people don't like the story, but I had actually listened to a lot of the storyline before I started playing the game, because I know it's difficult to put together the whole story through just reading about different weapons and talismans that you pick up. That's kind of how you're introduced to the lore. But I just listened to lore before, so I entered the
Mhm.
world knowing the lore and knowing what was going on, and I really enjoyed it that way. Great game. I put a ton of hours into it, but we'll still probably play it a lot more. In no way am I great at the game, but that's fine. You
Yeah,
get
It's a
better.
tough
absolutely.
You
game.
get better as you
Yeah.
go.
I love Elden Ring too. I was
Yeah.
there when it first released. I was there day one, and I think it took me to day 8 that I beat the game. So I was really in there hard. I never really picked up the game a ton after I beat it. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Mostly because I wasn't ready to rage again. That game's
There,
crazy,
I
dude.
would say there are two different feelings I have during that game. One is just enjoying the serenity of the environment and just like
Dude,
soaking it up
dude.
and really loving
Mm.
it and going exploring. And then the other is trying your darndest to beat bosses.
Yeah.
Or
No,
sometimes more of the rage, I think, is actually by the little minions throughout the levels that kill you and annoy you when you're trying to get to a certain place
mhm.
and you're not taking them seriously, and then they kill you. Um, yeah.
No, I want
I've
to say
got
about
pissed off by a lobster a number of times.
yeah,
Um,
those guys come out of nowhere. I will say about the scenery, you're so right. Little things like the trees, the
It's
sky, the mountains, everything just feels so unbelievably shocking, and that's so hard to say in a video game
yeah.
because obviously you can make pretty much anything in a video game, but it looks so real, so stunning. And pretty much any scene you come across looks like a background to a computer. Like it just looks that,
Yeah, it really
beautiful.
does. Yeah.
Everything.
Mm.
And the
Gorgeous.
bosses for the most part are very unique. The dragons is, they're pretty similar, but they're fun enough, But all the other main story bosses are so unique, so
I
different.
will say I'm not a fan of fighting dragons.
Yeah, who is?
I do not like it. It's the one thing I avoid.
Yeah, but no, I love that game. It deserved an honorable mention, so I'm glad you brought it up. I'm gonna add that to my honorable mentions. Elden Ring.
All right,
Probably the second best Souls-like game for me of all time.
Yep. Josh.
Yep, my number 3 is Toontown, Disney's Toontown Online.
What?
Toontown? Yo, what is this? Okay, we gotta look up some gameplay of this or something. Bring it up onto the stream.
I'll put it on.
Because Josh, talk about it. Because I have no idea what you're talking about. Right
Okay, this is objectively the better of the two. Club Penguin was the competitor, and unfortunately, Club Penguin basically shoved Toontown out of Disney's MMORPG game inventory, if you could say that. But Toontown was the better MMORPG. I played both, and essentially, the plot is. Oh, what's up, Paxton?
Don't click. I'm gonna let you know when to click on the stream.
Okay,
Real
I'll let you
quick.
know.
3, 2, 1. Go ahead and click on it. Gameplay's up.
Cool. Yeah, so basically you're playing as this animal character, and there are these cogs that are walking the streets, and they're trying to basically corporatize the entire world and make you not have fun. They're making like buildings and headquarters everywhere, and you're trying to like prevent that from happening. You're trying to like stay happy. This is a kids game. It's designed for like 7-year-olds, and fun mini games. Lots of memories playing this with my classmates. We would do some bosses together.
I thought that was a real gun. If you're watching it, I was like, "Oh
No.
my goodness,
It's a water gun.
This guy in the street."
This stuff goes hard, man.
Whoa,
Okay.
dude! You actually did kill him, though. That's crazy.
No, it's funny though. You can lure people into a dynamite, or you can make them like get run over by a train. Like there's all
Jeez.
sorts of gags you can pull on
Why?
people.
Why is this your top 3?
Yeah. So I
You.
I remember one weekend I spent 26 hours playing this game over a 48-hour period.
Oh my goodness.
This is a really it's an MMORPG. Your attacks will go up as you continue destroying enemies. You get stronger. Your health points on the bottom left go up. There's fish you can collect. There's pets you can train. There's like if you guys have played Club Penguin, this is just imagine Club Penguin but better. That's
Really?
my hot take. That is my hot take. Let's see anything else. The friends I've made. Okay, so man, so there's you can chat with people. And there's obviously a language filter because of the children that are playing. But I've made some very dear friends on this game. I've followed some of their
friends. Yeah,
like,
That's so sweet, actually.
changed his
Toontown.
life.
yeah, no, I'm still watching their YouTube videos, and we like, man, we've grown, like it's been 15 years, but it's a very cherished piece of my childhood.
So is this game still going? You said it's an online game.
So here's the thing: Disney Toontown Online was canceled in around I think 2012, 2013 because of the Club Penguin thing, and then Club Penguin got shut down, which is stupid. But there have been so many people that have loved this game that there have been like 5 people that made their own server, and they somehow pulled all the data, and it's called Toontown Rewritten. I've actually played it with my brothers like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Obviously, I'm a little grown for this. But yeah, there's still people playing this game, and there's so many different mods and different servers that you can continue playing the story with. So there's that.
Can you click up the stream? I'm gonna end it.
Okay, I'm off.
Thank you. That's really cool. Wow, I am blown away that is your top
That-
3 game.
that
of all
is
time.
crazy.
That's a wild.
You wouldn't
You know
expect
what,
it.
That is
though?
wild.
I thought Josh might pull something out of a hat like that.
Yeah,
And who knows, his top 2 might also
yeah, it's gonna be
surprise
wild.
us. Yeah.
All right, is that
That's
all you want to say
awesome.
about Toontown?
Just I think the friendships is the most important thing. It wasn't
That's cool.
like the
That's
gameplay
actually
was
so sweet.
addicting. It was addicting getting stronger, but really just just when I see my friend log in, we just teleport and chill at their house. It's like we had a good time. It was like a virtual
Wow.
environment. So
This is there's so much behind this. There's so much
Mhm.
nuance. There's layers behind this. This is about the friendships you make along the way, right?
that's right.
This is
That's
this
right.
is
Moving on to the number 2.
this is the
No,
Genshin Impact guy. This is Weeb Nation right now, man.
No. I mean,
Friendship.
Pat, maybe some of you. But anyways, that's so cool. That's such a wholesome story. I love that. That's such a cool number 3. At first, I was like, "Oh, dude, this is stupid," but you sold me. You sold me.
Appreciate
That's a solid number 3. For me, my number 2, and this is going to be a game me and Jake are going to talk about a lot, but it just deserves to be here so much. It's Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yes.
That's my number 2 as well. Let's go.
There is so much to say about this game, but the thing that when I said earlier, my favorite games are games that when I play them, it consumes me. There is no game I've ever played that has done this more than Divinity Original Sin 2. This game literally took over my life for about a month, and it's the sweetest.
Why, Paxton? Why?
It's the best memory ever. Hold on, I'm still setting it up a little bit. I literally, and we've talked to Jake about this so many times, because me and him, okay, for context, me and him played through the whole game together.
Yeah.
And we went into it with pretty much no expectation. We didn't know how good of a game. If you've played it, you know how good of it is. But we didn't know that. We were just like, oh, this is like another fantasy game. We'll see how it is.
We'll always pick a game and try it out and go through it, and sometimes we drop it.
But the experience we shared with this game is like nothing else. It's when I wasn't playing this game, it's all I thought about. Like I thought about Divinity. I thought about it before bed. I thought about it at work. I thought about it on my way home. And I was like, I couldn't wait to get to playing it again. Like that's all I wanted to do. Like you could have offered me a trip to Florida, but I'd be like, no, I want to play more Divinity. I want to see what happens next in Divinity. I want to play this game more. I am not a very big on tactical combat games. And I think for the most part, it's a pretty stale genre for me. But this game, it's unbelievable, dude. It's unbelievable. The world, the combat, your character, the story. It is incredible. I mean, Jake obviously is going to have so much to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you continue to cook here, but it is the most fun I've probably ever had in combat before. Especially that combat was just a blast. It felt smooth, it was seamless, it was like logical. It encouraged creativity and just trying like new ways to figure out how to some of the combats were very difficult. So we would talk about it and we would strategize. Okay, how are we going to do this? Okay, I'm going to do this and then I'll attack and then we'll lay this down. And it was just great. It was just
so tense. Battles were tense, and here's what I loved about it was this game, if you know nothing about it, the learning curve is insane for World 1. Like the amount you have to figure out and the difficulty.
We were dying a lot in the beginning.
And I love that. I was like, wow, wait, this isn't easy. Like I can't just go beat up who I want to beat up. Like I will die if I do that. I need to do other things and do like before I'm ready for this. Amazing.
I do want to point something out. I want to paint the picture for Josh a little bit. Paxton and I have completely different styles of how we like to play games. And it was a blast. It was hilarious. A few times it was annoying playing with Paxton because I'm interested in stories, right? So I'm going and I'm talking to all the people and I'm trying to hear what they're saying and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is going on? Where are we at? Who's this person? What's the relationship? Are they important? What's the relationship to the greater narrative? What are these side plots? Trying to soak in all the lore, trying to figure out, is this character evil or good? Should we trust him? I'm going in doing this. While I'm doing this, Paxton is always running around stealing from people, going into areas that were way underleveled for, or like constantly he kept saying, "Oh, I'm in a battle. I'm in a big battle. These guys are attacking me."
Like, give me a moment to read, my guy.
So the one thing that we kept doing is we had to reset the game. So Jake would constantly like save the game, yep. And then we'd have to reset constantly. If you know this game, you know pickpocketing is broken, and I got addicted to pickpocketing. But there's so many times where I failed, and Jake's like, "Oh, I gotta go through this dialogue again." I was like, "Oh, sorry." But yeah, no, dude, this game is incredible. I mean, from the
I
start.
think there legitimately were times, Josh, to a comment you made, where Paxton somehow got in a fight with somebody who was one of our allies. And I was like, dude, that person is on our side. What are you doing?
Yeah,
That's funny.
that is very true. But start to finish this game, I couldn't put down. I mean, I literally couldn't stop thinking about it until I beat it. Like, there was no time ever or for a second where I was like, I'd rather be doing something else. I'd rather be playing a different game. Like, not even like a hint of that, man. This game is incredible. Uh, and I think this could sound kind of cheesy. I think one of the things that made it great was being able to play it with Jake and us being kind of like having the same knowledge and the same experience with this type of game and being able to learn together was wow. Yeah. That is a memory that I cherish greatly with that game. Love it. Love it.
Here's a question.
I don't want to go too long, but
well,
go ahead.
So you can play with another person. Is it like, is there a limit? Like, is it 4 or is it, can you do single player? Okay.
You can do single player, or up to 4 people.
Okay. Okay. And you mentioned the battle too. Like, is it like you can send, because you mentioned like tactics, right? You can can you parry, or are you fighting with a sword, or are you just like
it's turn based?
Okay, I see.
Turn based, yeah.
Yep.
But
So it's turn based, but there are things like you could determine not to have one of your characters in combat, and you could leave them out. And so then when you start the combat, you can sneak that character around out of the vision of the enemies, and then get off like a critical hit, free shot on somebody, potentially, depending on how you built your character, because there's different ways you can build them. There's different abilities you can choose to give them. And you have certain powers as well. So depending on how you built your character, you might be able to get a critical hit if you've got, and do like way more damage if you have the high ground. Like if you're an archer, you have high ground, you want to get there, so you want to sneak there. If you're a rogue, you want to sneak attack, so you might want to sneak them around, and their first attack in combat is hitting somebody from behind. So there are a lot of things like that.
I don't want to spend too long. There's one more thing I think I want to mention. Maybe more will come to me, but the maps in this game, I've never been on a map where literally like every inch of the map is worth exploring and rewards you to take the time to explore. It's not a massive map. Don't get me wrong. It's not a huge map. Like, there's way bigger maps than this. But every inch of this map has a mystery that's worth exploring, or has something that's rewarding if you go down there. Like it all feels like it's just worth it, and it feels great to discover things or find a hidden room or anything, because like, oh man, all the new items and stuff, it's fresh, it's amazing, I love it. And
there's I don't want to spoil anything if you end up playing it, but there are some battles too and some combats that do some really interesting things in combat that take you by surprise. And it just like, there were times where Paxton and I were like, what?
Yeah, we're literally just screaming, what?
Like, no way.
That's funny,
yeah.
Great game. You have anything else you want to say about Jake? That was your number 2, right?
That's my number 2 as well. The experience of playing it with somebody who had never played it before, and it was the journey together. It's all about the journey.
There you go. There's our merch.
Throwing in some more weeb stuff in there. But it was great. Yeah. It was just an amazing experience of a game. I have gone back and dabbled with playing it again, and it wasn't as captivating, but probably I'd have to give it a few more years before I'd find it interesting.
That's part of one of the reasons Baldur's Gate 3, at least for me personally, I think for Jake for a little bit, didn't knock my socks. I'll just talk about it personally. Didn't knock my socks off quite as much as it probably should have. Is because me and him played this game this year. Let's put that out there. The year of Baldur's Gate 3 when it fully released. So it's not like we'd been waiting 4 years for this, or 5 years, Divinity Original Sin came out like 6 years ago now. So we weren't parched at all. We weren't like starving for more. It was like we just beat it. We had that conclusion. It's like, oh, there's another one. Okay, that's kind of cool. And it's just more. It was just kind of more. And I guess I wasn't ready for Baldur's Gate 3, and that's why it's not as impressive as maybe it is to a lot of people.
We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But anyways, cool. Josh, on to your number 2.
Okay, I'm
gonna pull up. It's gonna be an obscure game. I have to pull up some.
No, you've heard of it. I know you all have heard of it. I'm gonna actually share my screen and give you a trailer first before I talk about this at length, because this was gonna be number 1 as well. So
Oh, Replicant. That's so interesting. Okay.
I have not played it.
There we go. No worries. That music got some fun fancy fighting going on. Is that Sans?
It looks like Sans.
Yeah.
That trailer, man.
It's almost over. All right, yes, that's
That's your. Okay, for the folks at home, explain what the difference between Nier Automata and Nier Replicant is.
well, basically, Nier Replicant is the prequel to Nier Automata, and but Nier Replicant was released first, and then Automata, and then Replicant got remastered, so people
Oh.
get confused.
Okay.
But Replicant, well, I think, is the best game that it's the best soundtrack I've ever heard in any game. I'll say that. It has the best plot of any game I've ever played in my entire life. So those two metrics are already maxed out. So we got the plot, the music, top notch. The gameplay, the actual gameplay, you can like the fighting, the whole fighting mechanics is just it's amazing. Like you can parry and there's timing to it. It's actually difficult. It's not just like a mindless slashing. You kind of saw in the trailer there that there's different parts of the game where you can like it changes the genre of the game sometimes. Like there's this top down view sometimes, or you'll have a 2D platform sort of view, and it's also
really?
like open world as well. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting game. There's lots of genres that it changes into, but the most important part is definitely the plot and the music for me. I can't really. I wish I could spoil, but I can't. And yeah, I can't spoil. I don't
I have a
want to spoil.
question.
So, anyways, yeah.
Can you give a reason why Replicant is so much higher on your list than Automata? What's a few reasons or one reason why that one's more impressive and you like more?
The characters is another thing. The character interactions, they really do feel like a family. Like these are random people. Okay, maybe I'll give a little bit of plot. But yeah, you got the main character who's trying to cure his little sister from an illness, and meets this other woman who's been who's just like, I guess, wandering around trying to kill these monsters that are afflicting society. Um, and this skeleton boy, who's a magical weapon that was developed thousands of years ago. Um, and they're trying to get to the source of how these shades, these monsters, are um, being generated, so that if they can kill the leader, in theory, that the entire problem would be solved. Yeah, I can't. I wish I could say more, but um, essentially, there's a plot twist with the identity of the villain, and it's like, after finishing the game, like, I spent a good week on the Wikipedia just absorbing like what just happened, because it, like, you just can't expect it, and the people that you thought were helping you, the people who you thought were your parents, like your entire village, like, they have secret identities, or they're not what you think they are. They're not even what
He's not gonna get rid of any plot.
It's like Mission Impossible, where it just keeps taking off his face and it's somebody else.
Like a Mexican standoff.
You never know.
Mm-hmm. This also won
awesome.
2021 Music of the Year in the Game Awards, so I can definitely stand behind that. I played this in 2022, and I think that's all I can say about it. Would recommend.
Cool. That's really cool. All right, gentlemen, we are to our number one. Here we go. This is the big one.
This is exciting.
I'm going first.
This is
my number one.
Real exciting.
Of all time. My favorite game of all time. I guess it's no surprise. It's Fortnite Battle Royale.
Are you serious? No. Are you joking?
Say it with a straight face.
Are you joking?
I'm gonna play it off.
But no, it's not Fortnite. Great though.
Is it Among Us?
No, that's mine.
No, you guys both know my favorite game of all time. Most people do. I talk about it quite frequently. This game is a lot of people's favorite of all time, so I'm not going to talk about it a lot, especially since I think Jacob's played it, but it's The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation game, now on PC. This game has never mustered up more. No game has mustered up more emotion than The Last of Us. It really has. Just like when I played it, I could feel like an attachment to the characters growing. And as I played the game, I just felt this connection with these characters more than I've ever felt before. The story is incredibly engaging, and it's a game I, again, just couldn't put down. I think it was one of the first more mature games I played, and a lot of the elements of that were just really cool to me and very, very new, very fresh. Josh, obviously you played it. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you didn't give it an honorable mention. I'm a little disappointed.
Man, I'm sorry. I can't really compare them to the ones that I also value, and it was a really recent game, so maybe I just needs to cook a little more before I realize how amazing it was, I guess. But
there are also a lot of personal things to Josh that I feel like affects his top list. Like, there's been a lot of real attachment to it that goes beyond just the game being a well-designed game. I feel like are things that I'm catching on to. So
yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, The Last of Us, obviously, it was good enough to have a TV show. The characters are just incredible. I mean, hands down, just some of the best in the business that there ever have been. The combat is actually just kind of mediocre. I mean, to be honest, there's nothing to write home about the combat besides that it's a little difficult and a little challenging, but it's pretty basic. But what really just drives us is the story.
Yep. Who are the characters in that?
It's gonna be Joel and Ellie are gonna be the top.
Joel, that's right.
But yeah, obviously it was played by Pedro Pascal. Hats off to him. He did a great job at the show. Really great job.
Paxton, do you remember who the video game voice actor is for Joel?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Let me fix my camera real quick.
Yes.
It's being a little poopy head. So as we there we go. As we are talking about earlier, we got to meet the voice actor for Diva, and at that same con, we were very blessed and lucky to be able to meet the voice actor for Joel in the video game, not Pedro Pascal, the video game. This guy was incredible. I'm just gonna say it again. If he's ever in your area, you see him on a con in your area, go meet, and you like The Last of Us, go meet this guy. He's great. He's really friendly.
Troy Baker. He we met a lot of different people, a lot of different voice actors, and actors, just in general.
Yes.
And he was the one who was just the most personable, was more excited than anyone else that you were there.
Extremely
and
personable.
The realest, the most genuine. You felt like he could just easily have a connection with anybody. He was great. He was fantastic. In his booth, the area he was in, there was like nobody around him. So we just walked straight up, talked to him for a little bit. I was also excited to find out that he is the voice actor for Pain in Naruto. And Pain being one of my favorite characters in Naruto. I'm outing myself as a weeb right now as well, but that's fine.
Wasn't going to take long.
Wasn't going to take long. But yeah, I just wanted to shout that out. Hearing you talk about The Last of Us, the voice actor for Joel just seems like an amazing person.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that guy. But I don't know if there's a ton I can say about the game. Besides that, there is a sequel to the game called The Last of Us Left Behind Still Stand. There's actually, a lot of people don't know there's 3 The Last of Us games. A lot of people think there's only part 1 and part 2. There's one in the middle, and that game was also very incredible. Would highly recommend that one as well. But yeah, I think it's the best zombie apocalypse game ever made. Just is. So
I just want to answer that real quick. Yeah. Like, I think it was a great game that it was a great game in terms of the moral dilemmas it showed to you. Like it made me think a lot when I was playing it. Like, what should I actually do here? Was this the right thing to do? And let's see. I was gonna say something else. Yeah. The relationships between the characters. Did you mention that specifically?
Not specifically.
Okay. That's something I also really valued when I was playing that game.
It felt very real. It felt so real. Like, these characters are acting like, I don't know. They had great synergy, great moments. I've played through the game probably about like 3 times now, just because I could never get enough of it. And I love it. Wow. I love it. All right, that's my number 1. That's my list. We're done.
Wow.
Jacob Calvin. I know what it's gonna be.
I'm glad you're all here for this moment. I have not
stand up?
come to give you. I do want to stand up, but I'm not going to. Okay. I have come to give you not my favorite game of all time, but rather the greatest game of all time.
Okay.
The greatest story ever told.
Say the game.
Perhaps. Paxton, have you ever had a dream as a young boy? You ever have a dream? Do you know what it's like, Josh, to be growing up and have a dream?
Yes.
And to be able to pursue that dream. And to be able to be pursuing greatness. Not just greatness, but to be the very best. The best there ever was.
Oh, I know what's going on.
I swear, if you wrote that out.
No story is greater than the story of Ash Ketchum and Pokemon. Specifically, Game Boy Color Pokemon. It is the game that spawned an entire franchise that changed lives, that told young kids that you can dream and you can achieve those dreams, even though Ash never achieves the dream. He's still working on it, I think, right now. But hey, He does not give up. He continues forward towards that dream, and you achieve the dream in the game of becoming the Pokemon Master when you beat Lance, and then after Lance, you beat Gary, and it is the greatest game ever told.
Hats off to the beach, at least.
Pokemon Blue version. I don't know how much I need to say. As soon as I say Pokemon, everyone knows. Yeah, that's not only the greatest game, but the greatest story.
It won't be the last time we talk about it. So. Very cool.
I'm pretty sure it was. Go ahead, Josh.
Is it just collecting them that makes you want to keep going back to the game, or is there another part of the game that's like, oh, I
So
actually enjoy that?
yeah. So let me explain it a little bit. Before this game came out, I'm playing platformer type games on my Sega Genesis, and you're playing, Sonic and Tails, maybe some racing games as well. This was, to what other people have said, the first real game that felt like an adventure and a journey that I went on, and I was there. And yes, you're collecting them, but you're also leveling them up. You're evolving them. That was a really cool concept to evolve. It's like animals with powers that you have that you're running around. I don't know. I mean, it's a game for kids. I will say that. Like, I go back, if I had never played it as a kid and I went and played it now as an adult, I don't know if I'd like it. I don't know if I'd be interested in it. So I don't know if it stands on its own two legs up against all these other games that I have here on my list. But as a kid, as one of the first games you ever played, and you're sucked away into this fantasy world, this adventure where there's all these different Pokemon, all these different creatures, especially as someone who loves animals. And you have these animals and you get to battle them against other people and you're raising them up from different levels. You never know. There's this random aspect. You never know which one will come up and what you'll be fighting against. What you fight against, you can then capture and bring it to your team. And like, so all these elements were just new. It was like nothing else that I had ever played before. And yeah, it was, I think my one thing that I always wanted as a kid that I was disappointed is there's one part in the game where they ask you if you like, oh, you're super powerful, you'd make a great addition to Team Rocket, and you're asked if you want to join Team Rocket and you can't. And like, I always wish I was like, but I kind of want to join Team Rocket. Like, that seems like a fun storyline and a fun path. Now, obviously, there have been other games where you can, and like mods that you can, modified games that you can now join Team Rocket and be following like those storylines, whatever. So I still do play some of those. Some like ROM hacks are pretty enjoyable that are made for people who are older and have more mature storylines. But the original Pokemon, I don't know. It was like the first game that made me feel like I was on an adventure. Yeah.
Wow, when you talked about that, like being the first game being on an adventure, that just screamed why I love The Last of Us. I couldn't have said it easier or any better. That when I played that game, I felt like I went on this journey.
Yeah.
Like I was a part of this journey.
Yeah.
And that's
right.
That's really what I felt with The Last of Us.
Right.
So I love that you phrased it like that. That was
Well,
really
and you still remember, like, I can still tell you, I still remember like my most powerful Pokemon, the one I leveled up the most. It was a Dugong. I had this basically this, this whale that
The question
I
is,
loved.
did you catch them all?
Yeah.
No, I never did. And I never cared about grinding it. I went back and tried to, but then I realized I didn't care. So you couldn't catch them all in each version. You had to either get like a Game Shark or you had to trade with other people. And then some Pokemon you had to trade to evolve. So that was a fun mechanic, especially when I was younger. My other friends had it and we would link up. You'd battle with other friends. That was fun. But especially the main reason I wanted to link up with them was so we could trade Pokemon back and forth, so that we could get them to evolve. For a Haunter to evolve into a Gengar, you have to trade it and things like that.
That's cool. Nice. Very cool.
Respectable.
We're up to the last one.
Josh.
Yes.
And end us out on a banger, Josh. Let's go.
All right.
All the pressure.
First of all, does anyone have any ideas what it could be?
Actually, let me think. Can I think for like 30 seconds?
Yeah. Give it a shot.
Quick.
I don't think Jacob might. I don't know if you have an idea.
I don't think I do.
Top game for Josh. I actually have no idea. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna let you say it. I have no idea.
Okay. It's Osu.
Oh, dude! If I thought about it a little longer, I probably could have got it.
Osu is a rhythm game. It's actually pronounced Os, but it's an adaptation of a Nintendo DS game. I think it was released in 2005. Essentially, you click the circles to the beat. That's the whole game. There's sliders, so you could like drag a circle across a predetermined area, and that represents a sustained note in a song. But Yeah, so that sounds really simple, right? Well, essentially, I got sucked away into this game in, let's say, 2015 through 2019. That whole realm was Osu for me, and I got really good at the game. And there's a rank, like there's a global rank that you see when you're playing the game, and it goes down the better you get. Um, so I was like, man, I have to get better. I have to improve. And it was really nice seeing the improvement line. There's on your profile you can see that you get better. So I got to top 10,000. There was like maybe 1.5 million players online, and actually it was like 7,600 was my peak rank. This was like top 0.1% in America. um, I was doing things I didn't think I was able to do. I actually have a video I could share if you wanted. That's like 90 seconds long of me playing this one map that I like. But the community is really amazing. It's all of these
Don't
people.
hear that much.
Huh?
You don't hear that much in gaming.
Well, yeah. No, well, this time I would say it is a really nice community. There's some improvements that can be made, like the ranking process could be made easier because anyone can make their own map. Anyone can choose any song in the world, download the MP3, plug it into Osu, make a map, and submit it for ranking.
That's cool.
I tried to do that. I got one nominator to look at it, and couldn't get further than that because there's just not enough resources. It's unpaid people volunteering. But
Really?
the main reason I love the game is because it really challenged me physically. It was actually a sport, I would say. All these games are like entertainment, just like passive. Like, I'm thinking about this. This looks nice. This sounds nice. Like Osu was really, really hard to like. It was like a growth process for me personally. I was like, my hand is getting faster and my reflexes are getting better, and I can apply this to other games. Like I got better at FPSs after playing Osu. Yes. And CS:GO, I played CS:GO as well. But like jamming out to your favorite songs, clicking like there's nothing. Okay, I can't explain this like at all, but there's something so satisfying about cross-screen jumps. Like when people would separate circles in a map and you'd hit them all to the beat and hit them, time them perfectly. I just can't explain the satisfaction. It's really the most satisfying thing I've ever done in any game. Like you can pull off an assassination or whatever, but like that
When did this come out?
this was released in 2007. This desktop game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else? Okay, so the main thing, obviously, is that it's a music game.
Yeah.
And I've discovered so many amazing artists through this game. You can just like scroll through the recent beatmaps list on the website, and I've found, like, we'll talk about this in a later podcast, maybe with music, but
Yeah,
I've found
songs,
so many game-changing artists through this game. This game, like, introduced me to songs that I cherish so much. So I have
That's
to.
actually really cool. I do feel like I don't know a lot, but I've heard some of like the songs you like, and it's not uncommon that I have never heard of the artists that you bring up.
Mhm,
So I feel like you have a very unique, varied
indie-
taste of
indie
music.
vibe.
Yeah.
mhm.
Cool. That's a really cool number one, man. Actually wasn't expecting that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that really like it was
You'd
a
be
lot
very-
different. It was a lot different than everything else you
Dude,
mentioned before.
I think you had the most unique top 10 list, absolutely, which is really
Appreciate
cool. But I think I like that we were all very different. We all have different tastes. We all like things more than other things, which is really cool. I think it's better than all of us having similar tastes and being clones. So
Yeah,
that
we
is
knew that
cool.
was going to happen.
that. I'll get into the clone thing actually when we talk about disappointing games. So I'm really
Okay,
excited
well,
to talk about that.
That's where we are.
We
are
need to
at
be
our-
quick with this, or maybe I don't know. Maybe we could record a different little offshoot about this.
I
but-
think my disappointment list is gonna be relatively quick. I don't have like a ton to
Okay.
talk about with
All right.
the games.
All right, Josh, start us off with disappointing then.
All right, I guess I'll just go off of where I just left
Actually,
off.
can I ask real quick? Sorry, Justin.
Sure.
What is our time? How long are we recording?
We're 2:45 now. 2 hours 45 minutes.
Holy crap! Yeah, let's go. Just go through your list real
Okay.
quick. We'll do it like the honorable mentions.
Yeah, so I have listed here every FIFA game.
Okay.
Literally
I want to say.
every FIFA game.
How do you play them?
I think I played one at your house, but I've seen enough gameplay on YouTube. It's
I was
just
gonna say. Oh, okay.
like
You
no,
played
You're
one,
not
and you're throwing every single one
No.
into the.
You're not talking from experience, though.
No. No. I'm gonna say every like football game that's just
I'm
or
gonna
soccer game that's just
I'm gonna
recycled.
piggyback off of that and say every baseball game after MVP Baseball 2005 has been an utter disappointment to me, and it's made me mad at. Yeah,
What about
Pax
the one I
Bunny.
recommended?
I don't
MLB?
like it. It's a disappointment to
don't?
me. Yeah, I
Oh
don't.
man, 2023.
I think for me in general, sports games are disappointing. I think they're just kind of boring, but that's just me. So, but every FIFA game is.
I know why you're saying it, and that's exactly what Jake was talking about. Was the card packs. That's so annoying, and it's just the worst business decision ever that they could
Yeah,
make.
it's terrible.
But yeah.
Alrighty.
All right.
Anyways, next. You guys remember Fall Guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bought that. I played it for like a week, and then it was irrelevant.
That's everyone's experience.
Yeah.
I really gotta pee. I'll be honest. I'll be right back.
See ya.
Yeah, I never played Fall Guys. I thought about, but by the time I was like, maybe it had already kind of fallen off in terms of
Nice.
my friends wanting to play it. So,
Yep.
yeah, that one's fair.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield for me. It was I got a couple Pokemon games after the third generation, I think, which was like Crystal. So I played like Blue, and then I played Pokemon Silver and Gold, and then I think there's like Crystal after that. And then I didn't play for a while. And then I picked up Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it's terrible. And the store, like, even the first one doesn't have a great one. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Are we under your list? Is Josh?
We've just been talking about
okay.
stuff back and forth.
I got two more. Yeah.
Yeah, but that one, its story was dumb, boring. The battles were so easy. Like, it was just like, I literally am like too old to be playing this game right now. Like, there's nothing about this
game.
game.
You feel embarrassed.
The only thing that I enjoyed while playing it is when my nieces were with me and I was playing it with them, and they were watching me, or I would let them play. That was fun, but other than that, the game was like, it was terrible.
Nice. All right.
I also had Maple Story. Any of you play that?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll just be really, really quick. It's essentially an MMORPG, but the equipment you get, you can regress. Like you can like upgrade it, but at a risk of destroying it or regressing it. And it's the most grindy game I've ever played in my entire life. Like it takes like 4 hours to go up a level once you're like above 200. And it's just 4 hours of like people just automate it. Like they just set a bot and just it's really just poor game design late into the game. The story in the beginning is really nice. There's a lot of fun stories there, but just the game design itself, especially late game, is really abysmal. And finally, I will say, I Want to Be the Boshi. Have any of you heard that one?
No. Sure.
Okay, I Want to Be the Boshi is a platforming game that's like made for elite South Korean gamers or something. It's just I might be a little racist by saying that, but
whoa,
okay,
Josh,
but that's how I found it. So I found it on a stream. Like Faker was playing it. And,
Faker,
yeah, he was playing it, and I just didn't know what was going on, because the thing is, you have to memorize so many things.
As there's a show called Kids Say the Darndest Things. I think there should also be a saying that says Josh says the darndest things.
Yeah. We need a scoreboard. We need to get a scoreboard up there.
Scoreboard.
Out of pocket things Josh says.
Man, it just came out. I'm sorry.
It's not that.
Korean gamers.
But the thing is, I tried downloading the game myself. It's ridiculously difficult because you have to memorize the timings of a bunch of spikes that fall. You have to know how to get off the platform. And then maybe the platform itself just falls for no reason. There's literally no reason. And there's just like hidden invisible wall you can't touch or else you'll die. It's just a bunch of random things that don't make any sense. And you have to memorize them to progress a level. The mechanics are really difficult. And I wouldn't recommend it unless you're an elite platform gamer and you want to conquer it. Like if you want to be the Boshi, you play I Want to Be the Boshi. That's all.
Very cool. That was actually a good list. I enjoyed that. Jacob, you want to go next?
Yeah, I already said every baseball game after MVP Baseball 2005, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and lastly and this is because comes from the same creators of Skyrim, and I had high hopes, but Starfield. I actually don't mind Starfield, and I'm still playing it, but I had high hopes. I had such high hopes. I was so excited, loving Skyrim, and think we're gonna take that to space, and that's what they did. You know, it's Skyrim in space, but there's no innovation.
They stopped right there.
They stopped right there.
Full stop.
Oh man. So that part of it is disappointment. Characters for the most part are not super interesting. I'm not even super invested in the story. Combat's okay. There's a lot of times where you're just running to places and
empty.
It's empty.
Lands.
It feels lifeless.
There's nothing there.
You don't. There are a couple places that feel alive and a couple good things it does, but
I have
for
to
the
say
most part,
something. So Bethesda has been responding to people criticizing the game. And
Yeah.
one person criticized that the world is like super open and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And this is what they said. This is
boy.
what they said to the player. They said, "Yeah, we did that on purpose because that's
I heard this.
how
Yeah.
planets are."
Yeah.
And it should. They're like they told the player it should be more exciting. Imagine when NASA landed on the moon, how exciting that was. Like referencing that should be as exciting for the player. Like, dude, what the heck? What do you mean?
They're out of touch.
Because
they are out of touch.
Life.
Yeah.
It's a video game. Obviously, it's not. Yeah. They're man. What a great response. One for the books. Man. All right. Did you have anything else you want to say on Starfield?
I'm excited for Bethesda's new installment when they create a geological exploration game where they explore how exciting it was for the first person to discover minerals or specifically garnet in a rock, and just how amazing that will be for the players when they see a rock that has a piece of garnet in it. It'll be incredible.
That's gaming at its peak. That's where we're going. All right, I did have Starfield on my list, so I'm just going to skip right over that one. First on my list is going to be Far Cry 6, and that is completely because I played Far Cry 5, loved it. I saw this guy, people that we meet at the con keeps coming up, but the guy Gus from Breaking Bad, I don't know his real name. He was the main villain in Far Cry 6, and we actually got to meet him at the con where we met Joel and Diva too. So we got to shout out the big three guys.
Yeah.
He was great. It was great. But this game sucks. It's awful. As a super generic story that you're not going to get invested to. Characters that seem like they're made from AI. It's Ubisoft at its finest, where it feels like the most dull, meaningless, boring, meaningless, like missions, story, everything. Like it's not hard. It's completely
nothingness.
Yeah, there's nothing to like. I mean, when I think of disappointing, it's games I was looking forward to, and I actually was really looking forward to this environment and this villain, but there was just nothing there, and it was just very underwhelming, and I did not like it. The Last of Us Part 2, I'm going to be very vague with this one because we have players that are going to play it here, and I don't want to spoil it at all. I don't hate it. I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater of this game, but there is one character in there that makes me want to break my head, my head against the wall. Like your
head's already broken, man. I had to break it to you.
True. I probably
but
broke
it probably was this game.
Yeah, I broke it during this game. Like this game made me so freaking angry at one character that they put in the game. You know who it is if you played the game. It's awful. She ruins it. Everything besides that is fine. Great combat. Everything else is great. But that one character earns this spot in this list. Disgusting. Battlefield 2042. I love Battlefield games. I actually like Battlefield games more than I like Call of Duty games. But this game was a stinker, dude. It's them not trying. It's EA not trying and not caring whatever they put out. It's them hyping up a product, wanting everyone to play it and pre-order it, and then not caring how it's delivered. It's them once again disgracing their player base. All about money. All about them.
Gotta love it.
Being, it's horrible, dude. If there was anybody in that office that played this and was a gamer and thought that was enjoyable, it's like there's nothing to like about it, dude. It's buggy, it's broken, generic maps. There's no guns in there. There's hardly any maps. They don't update it. They update it like every 4 months. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Battlefield 2042 absolutely deserves a call out. Another one's gonna be New World, and this one I'm not gonna hate on a ton because it wasn't awful. It's just I was really looking forward to it and then it just kind of fell into irrelevancy.
Yeah.
And like if I didn't know it was coming out, then I guess I wouldn't have cared. But I knew it was coming out. I saw trailers. I love MMOs, and I kind of really got excited for it because it looked like it had a lot of unique elements and things going into it, like crafting, taking down trees, and kind of a cool exploring America type of vibe, or like kind of colonial vibe to it, which was kind of cool with the guns and the atmosphere. But it, in the end of the day, fell flat. It was very generic fantasy MMO game, nothing that really set it apart from anything else, and I was really disappointed in that. I've heard it's a lot better now, but haven't played it. So Jake played it as well. I assume he has kind of the same.
Yeah, similar thoughts. Yeah. Nothing that stands out about it. Wasn't terrible.
This next, it's not a horrible game.
How many do you have, dude?
One more or two.
Okay.
More. Next one, I'm really brief. This one I didn't play the game, but I was looking forward to it for literally years, and that's Lord of the Rings Gollum. That came out this year. When I heard they were making this game 6 years ago. I'm not even joking. I've been excited for Lord of the Rings Gollum.
That one's on my honorable mentions. What are you talking about, man?
For 6 years.
I'm gonna be streaming it later on.
That's so hype. Check it out. But no, this game is awful. But when I found out they were making a Lord of the Rings Gollum game where you get to decide like whether it be a good Gollum or a bad Gollum, like a stealth game, I was like, wow, that sounds awesome. Like that sounds awesome to play as Gollum. That's such a cool character. But wow, I don't even want to talk about the game. It's trash. Don't even touch it. Don't think about it. Let it be. Never enter your brain. And finally, Watch Dogs Legion. And all I'm going to say is this is Ubisoft at its finest. It's bland. It's boring. It's awful. And Ubisoft needs to change the trajectory of their studio because what they're putting out is crap. Just crap after crap after crap. And that's my list. I guess it was a little longer. All right, let's move on to the game of the year. And this is going to be fast because one of our guys doesn't play any games this year. Josh, would you like to at least shout out a game you played this year that you liked?
A new game.
Well, yeah, I played The Last of Us this year. I'm going to have to say The Last of Us is going to be my choice for the game I played this year. That's the best one, so yeah.
Sweet. All right, now on to the real ones. My 2023 game of the year. A little bit of shock. It's not going to be Spider-Man 2 because I haven't played it. It's not going to be Baldur's Gate 3 because it's a little underwhelming. So I know if those are your game of the year, that's great. I have nothing wrong with that. But this is my personal choice. I didn't get to play all the games I wanted to play, but this one I did spend a lot of time with, and I did grow to really, really love and enjoy it. It gave me everything I wanted it to give me, and that's Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy is getting my Game of the Year award.
Wow, really?
Yes, it's everything I wanted.
Yeah.
When I saw they were making this game, it's everything I wanted it to be. Like the way you got to go to classes, the way you got to feel to be a student. Yeah, the overall story was whatever, but that's not what you played. You weren't playing it for this overall story. You're playing it to feel like a Hogwarts student. And
to go to Hogwarts. You wanted to go to Hogwarts.
Yeah, it felt so amazing. And just to walk around the castle, oh man, it's amazing.
It is a visually beautiful game.
You could tell the people who made this loved Harry Potter, and that just reeks into this whole game of developers who were passionate about Harry Potter, loved Harry Potter, wanted to capture the magic of the books and the movies, and they really did. They really did, and I loved it, and I think it deserves my Game of the Year. Yeah, it's not a perfect game. Yeah, I can complain about it, but no, I'm not going to do that right now, because there's a lot to praise about it. It's my Game of the Year.
Wow, okay. I was not expecting that. So I might in some ways enjoy that more than my pick. My pick is Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's an incredible game. I have finished it, played it through once. I've done a little bit of a playthrough with friends as well. The game I finished was individual, but it's so deep. It's so expansive. It is another one of those games where every little corner of it feels alive, like there's something important. And you can go off into just some far swamp area, and all of a sudden you're, attacked by this, well, not this hag, but by some of the creatures that are in her swamp. And then you talk to her. You're not sure if she's good or evil. You can kind of strike deals with her. You can take a dark route. You can go evil. You can go an evil route and do like terrible things. So just your freedom of choice is insane. It's huge. How you want your character to, what allies you want them to make, who's part of your group. It's crazy. There are a lot of different NPCs that you can join you in your quest, I guess you could say. Story's good, voice acting's great.
Mm.
It definitely focuses a lot on having a huge, expansive world with lots of stories and lots of little, side stories and side quests as well that all fit into kind of the greater narrative. So it does an incredible job. It's an incredible game. It is very, very much D&D esque, and so going into it, playing D&D, I felt like I had a pretty good advantage. I knew how to use the spells. I knew how initiative worked. I knew how your skills worked, how they affected your abilities, how spells work, and how spells can be stopped, and what skills you need. So there was a lot there that I was already very familiar with. So I loved that it felt like playing D&D on this very grand scale, and I could play it by myself. I actually enjoyed it more playing it individually than with other people. So I'm not sure why that was. I'll have to think about that. I did not like it as much as Divinity Original Sin 2. I think that game the combat is much, much better. I think Baldur's Gate 3 at the end, I was kind of tired of the combat a little bit. I don't think it took any great leaps forward. Maybe the last battle you fought was interesting. And I almost died on my first playthrough there because it threw some curveballs at me. But it's just overall an impressive achievement of a game. And I haven't even touched on all the things that it's done and that it does. It's just very impressive. There are just so many different avenues you could have gone.
Yeah, that's not. I don't think that's a disappointing pick at all. I mean, I played the game. I love the game. I haven't finished it, but that's. I mean, it obviously has a good chance to win Game of the Year, and I think it deserves that. Yeah.
But I think it is super long, and I think might have enjoyed actually Hogwarts Legacy more. But Hogwarts Legacy is a shorter game, and it's a game that's more like sometimes games that are really big and really massive gets too overwhelming and just drags on, and you're like, okay, I'm not as into it now as I was. So
yeah. One more thing about Hogwarts Legacy, actually, now that you brought it up, the combat is very cool. When I saw the trailers and the clips of the magic, I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work. But you play it, it's fun. It's very fun, and the way you can like combine spells, it works very well, and it's fun. So
briefly on that, for the combat for Hogwarts Legacy is your spells have different colors associated with them, and the enemies will use shields of different colors. So you would always have to match your attack with the color that they were using, and they'll be like switching between different shields and different attacks, and so you're trying to even just visually, it's like a visual battle partly. Like you're just you'll have different skills or different spells kind of preset, and then you just know, okay, visually you match it with that. That was cool. One other thing, I almost put Alan Wake 2 as game of the year, but I haven't finished it.
Shout out. Big shout out. Very cool. All right, we are going to move on to our looking forward to in the future. And now that we're making this, we might make this a 2-part podcast. So
maybe
keep that in mind. We've been recording for a while, so we'll see. But Josh, would you run through the games you are most looking forward to coming out?
Yes. So
and why?
Final Fantasy games in general are games that I look forward to every time they're released or announced. I haven't even finished 7. Like I'm almost done with 7, but I've heard that they're so special and that and I mean 7 was special to me. I'm just, whenever one comes out, I'm like, oh, here's another thing on the long list of games I want to do. But now that whole franchise is longer.
You got a lot of Final Fantasy to get through.
Yes, I do, and I'm hoping to play through all of them at some point in my life.
Wow!
But every single Final Fantasy game I'm interested in.
Awesome.
Another thing. So I don't even know if you guys count visual novels as video games, but literally any visual novel from the Key Company is one that I look forward to because, well, I've played a little bit of Little Busters. I finished Rewrite, and
Busters.
It's really boring gameplay. You just hit the X button for the next dialogue option. But the stories are amazing. The music's amazing, and anything that they release is just gold. They will make you cry. Like you will just cry. Very emotional stories. And there's one that was released called Heaven Burns Red that still needs to be translated from Japanese to English that I'm looking forward to. It's on Steam. And any other ones that get released by Key, I'm gonna look forward to. But that's it.
That's really cool. That's some really unique takes. That was nice to hear. I'm gonna go through mine real quick. I don't have too many, and I don't have a lot to say about these, but there are games that, yeah, I'm looking forward to them coming out. The first of them, one of Jake's top 10, The Wolf Among Us 2. I think this is probably gonna be on his list. I'd be shocked if it's not. I mean, yes, it's been 20 years, so are they gonna be able to recapture that magic? Who knows, but who cares? Like, I just want to get back into Bigsby and see what they cook up because it's Telltale. This is the first game they're releasing in forever, so I'm really looking forward to it. I don't really know where they can take the story that from the first one, but I mean, I don't know. I think they can come up with a brand new one and it'll be just as interesting because it's an awesome world to be in. So, yeah, really looking forward to The Wolf Among Us 2. Stalker 2. There's been so much gameplay of this has come out throughout the years. It's been in development for forever, and it looks really, really cool. Like a very hardcore first-person horror open world game, which is really cool. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of different elements that go along with the game. The team that made it is actually based in Ukraine, and that's why it's taken so long to build it and make the game, because obviously they're in the middle of a war. So, but they're committed to pushing out this project and pushing out this game. So I've been really looking forward to that when that finally drops. Star Wars Outlaws, the newest Star Wars game. I love Star Wars. I love all their games. I love Fallen Order. I love the other Jedi. What was the other one called?
Knights of the Republic? I don't know.
No. It was in the
That's an older one.
Newest series. But anyways, I love those games. What we've seen of Outlaws looks pretty good. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that one. I'm excited to see more of what type of game it is too as well. This is the big one, obviously GTA 6. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's GTA 6. Come on.
Yeah.
Who's not just absolutely pumped for that game? So GTA 6. And finally, Marvel's Wolverine. There's a Wolverine game being made by the people who made the Spider-Man games. And I think that's so cool. And I think they're going to take the genre and more of a mature genre for Wolverine. And I think that's also very cool. So there's been a very long time since we've seen a Wolverine game. And since it's made by from the developer who makes Spider-Man, but since it's made by a developer I trust so much to make superhero games, I think that's those two things coming together make me really excited for that. That's my list.
Very solid.
My list is very short. The Wolf Among Us 2 and Hades 2. Those are the two I'm looking forward to.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah, those are obviously two very hyped games. All right. Did we have any concluding thoughts on episode 1?
Yeah, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
That we for next episode we've got a board, another, or maybe we have a space on the little whiteboard behind, and we have my name, Jacob, Josh, and Paxton, and then we'll put little like tally marks under there for Josh when he says anything that's just off the cuff, takes us by surprise. Hot takes from Josh. For Paxton, it's every time he goes to the bathroom.
Okay, yeah.
Your bladder is minuscule.
We don't have to do that. But,
if you are in, you'll quickly realize how much I have to pee, and I'm not ashamed of it. We do exist, frequent peers. We're real. There are tens of us, and yeah.
And then for me, anytime I say something that's old man vibes. So
that's actually a great list. That's a great list. But yeah, that's anything else?
I think that's it.
Good.
I wanted to thank you guys so much for listening. This was super fun. We had a blast. Be expecting more
Who's
videos.
Listening? Or are we talking about the parallel universe where somebody actually listens to us?
That's true. If you did find this,
maybe we're this universe. Maybe we are in it.
Maybe
we'll find out
Yeah.
But, little things like that. If we get a certain amount of subscribers, we'll do stuff, which sounds cool. Go ahead, Jim.
I think we should give a teaser to the next potential episodes that we're gonna
All right. Yeah, I don't have mine.
I mean, so the teaser's just going to be briefly what they're about. And this isn't set in stone. This could change. When I do it, I want to talk about horror and storytelling surrounding horror.
That's gonna be an episode that we're gonna put a lot of work into, a lot of passion in. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I probably won't be ready for that next week.
Yeah.
But
all right, Josh.
Yeah, I'm interested in
next week.
Yeah, I'm interested in music. As you can probably say, like, or tell from my video game preferences, but I'd probably do something like top 5 favorite music songs or pieces, and then also artists, like, just people that deliver all the time, like, solid, consistently. Yeah, there's so many other categories I could add to that, but
top 5 genres, stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll go music.
Yeah. That'll be cool. That'll be a really fun one as well. I think we love these top 10 lists. I think we talk way too long when we get into them, but it's really, really fun. So,
yeah, anyways, we'll definitely be talking about how we can cut down.
Yeah. All right. Say your goodbye, Josh.
Yeah.
Jacob.
What?
Say your goodbye.
Sorry, I was trying to do an old man moment. See you later.
Check. All right, guys. Much love. See you later.
End it. End it.